What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8RJ. Chapter 176. Partner News. From the inside, it is completely the same as a large island. There are not only land and dirt, but also large tracts of forest. In the forest, there are also all kinds of weird plants and animals, including a variety of cartoon-looking animals that can no longer be cartoons, living puppets, and 4 different images made up of various animals, and so on. It can be said that as long as you can think of weird things, they are all here. Compared to Doflamingo's Doflamingo, the atmosphere here is 1,000 times weird. Even Ulquiorra, Acedes and Galio from other worlds were a little dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Don't be too magical here. Fofufufu, Gecko Moria likes to fix these useless things. Seeing this, Doflamingo couldn't help but sneered. It can be seen that Doflamingo and the other 7 warlords of the sea are not getting along well. Also, with his perverted personality and defiant personality, who can get along well with him? By the way, Doflamingo, Gecko Moria has not been removed from Shichibukai by the world government, right? Ye Chen suddenly asked. No, Lord Ye Chen, what's the matter? Doflamingo was very curious about Ye Chen's question. It's okay. Ye Chen heard the words and somehow understood. No wonder the system asked him to sign in here. The feeling is that Gecko Moria and his party have not been defeated by the protagonist group Luffy. It is estimated that because of his appearance, the plot of this world has changed too much. For example, he eliminated the dragon pirates early in the morning, so naturally there was no such thing as the Straw Hat Pirates defeating the dragon pirates and making it famous in the East China Sea. This also led to the fact that the protagonist team was much weaker than the original book when they were on top of the war. This is one of the reasons why he would ask Rayleigh to be the mentor of Luffy's group. Perhaps it was because of his appearance that the protagonist group changed the course of their voyage, so instead of reaching the terrifying 3-masted sailing ship, they went directly to the magnetic drum island that was missed in the original work, and then went to shampoo from the magnetic drum island. The islands also say not necessarily. In this way, the protagonist group naturally missed the horror 3-masted sailboat, and naturally they would not conflict with Gecko Moria and the gang. Gecko Moria was not defeated by the protagonist group, so naturally he would not be removed from 7 warlords of the sea by the world government. The reason why Ye Chen suddenly asked Doflamingo this question was naturally because he noticed from various details that the horror 3-masted sailboat was relatively complete, and there was no sign of damage at all. If the group of Gecko Moria and the group of protagonists Luffy had fought, it would certainly not be the case. The facts proved that Ye Chen's speculation was correct. After asking Doflamingo, Ye Chen further confirmed his thoughts. The protagonist group has never arrived at the horror bark. It turns out that because the storyline of this world has been deviated, the system will ask me to come over and make corrections through the check in task backquote. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. To put it simply, it is to solve the terrorist 3-masted pirate group. Ye Chen thoughtfully. If this is the case, it would be interesting. It is estimated that now, Gecko Moria has received news that the Pluto of the Black Crow Pirates has entered the interior of the terror bark. I don't know how Gecko Moria will deal with it. Wouldn't it be scared to abandon the ship and run away? Ye Chen thought so, and felt that with Gecko Moria's timid character, it was really possible. After all, he now has a new nickname after killing Akainu, which is Admiral Terminator. This title spread after the top war. Even newspapers have published relevant news. As long as Gecko Moria knows something interesting and weighs the strength gap between himself and Admiral Akainu, he probably wouldn't dare to do anything with him. However, this time Ye Chen guessed wrong. Obviously, he underestimated the lower limit of Gecko Moria's IQ. Gecko Moria also deceived herself and thought that relying on the special climatic environment of the Devil's Triangle that was filled with fog all year round and no sunlight, coupled with his ace super zombie Oz, it was enough to deal with Ye Chen. Therefore, instead of abandoning the ship and fleeing, he intends to take Ye Chen and his party. Report, Lord Absalom has found traces of the Hades in the canyon's river channel. Really? Great. Let all the zombie soldiers attack the Hades. Yes. After explaining these things, Absalom turned around and said to Hakubik, who was leading the zombie general. Let these undead zombie soldiers advance to attack the Hades. After they consume the physical strength of Ye Chen and his group, we are doing it. Backquote at that time. Whether you Admiral Terminator or the strongest in the world, we still have to get caught. Yes, Hakubik agreed. However, just when the two were talking. Boom. The huge terrifying 3-masted sailing ship shook violently. Wow, what happened? There was an earthquake. Absalom and Hakubik were shocked one after another. Report. At the same time, a zombie bear soldier who looked like a suture monster hurried over. What's the matter? In this regard, Absalom, who had just been frightened, was very impatient. Report to Lord Abu Sarum that something is wrong, our zombie soldiers are wiped out. Zombie bear soldiers, panting report. What? Impossible. It's good, Absalom and Hakubik yelled almost at the same time. That is the tens of thousands of immortal zombie soldiers, has the entire army been wiped out? Impossible, absolutely impossible. How long has it passed since they just issued the order to attack? In less than 10 seconds, the whole army was wiped out. Don't say that Abu Sarum and Hogback didn't believe it, whoever heard this would believe it. However, what the zombie bear soldier said is true. The Pluto was moving on the river of the terrifying three-masted sailboat. Suddenly, on both sides of the canyon, there appeared to be a group of zombie soldiers, at least tens of thousands. This immediately frightened the crew on the Pluto. So they immediately mobilized the main cannon of the Hades, and aimed at the black zombie soldiers. It was a shot. Boom. Earth-shattering. This is the origin of the earthquake that Absalom and Hogback thought. Chapter 177. When the zombie bear will all this, after the original masters Abu Sarum and Hakubik. Hakubik breathed a sigh of relief immediately. It turned out to be just killed by a cannon. It doesn't matter, now the moon is just blocked by dark clouds. When the moonlight shines again, he. Hakubik let out a sinister laugh. What? It turned out to be a false alarm. Absalom also felt it was a false alarm. Before long, dark clouds drifted by, the moon appeared again, and the moonlight fell. On the Pluto, when Acids and others discovered that a large number of zombie soldiers appeared, they were about to start their hands. Who knows, these zombie soldiers looked menacing, but in fact they were vulnerable. They were cleared by the Hades. They suddenly felt dull. Such a weak zombie soldier doesn't need them to do anything at all. However, when the moonlight came down, they found that things were a bit difficult. Those zombie soldiers who were bombarded by Pluto into fragments, after being illuminated by moonlight, seemed to have acquired some mysterious power, and the fragments were moved one after another, and finally, they were grouped together. Those zombie soldiers were actually resurrected. Hey. Inside the castle, Moonlight Moria laughed strangely again. This is the power of the Shadow Fruit ability. As long as these zombie soldiers are not exposed to sunlight, they will not die. Even if it is bombed into pieces, it can be reborn again by acquiring the power of moonlight. This is his undead army of zombies. However, just when Gecko Moria, Hakubik and Absalom were proud of them. Burn. Ye Chen spit out a word gently, and his right hand touched Ryūjin Jakka on his waist. Suddenly, the zombies that were resurrecting in a frightening way suddenly all set themselves on fire. In just a moment, tens of thousands of zombie soldiers were all turned into ashes. The ashes in the sky, floating in the misty night, made this night even more eerie and terrifying. The other side, Absalom and Hakubik are still rejoicing. At this moment, the zombie bear that had just left ran back again in a panic. Report. What happened again? This time, Absalom and Hakubik almost spoke in unison. Our zombie soldier, the whole army is wiped out again. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The zombie bear was taken aback, but still boldly said. The whole army is wiped out again. Absalom and Hogback didn't understand the meaning of the zombie bear for a while. Yes, this time the whole army was really wiped out, all turned into ashes. It is estimated that it is probably impossible to resurrect. Howled the zombie bear. What? Upon hearing this news, Hakubik and Absalom both stared in shock. Only then did they remember the horror legend that Ye Chen could turn people into ashes if they were rumored to stay still. Is it true that the legend is true? They always thought that it was just exaggerated by people, and it was nothing more than falsehood. But now it seems to be true. Because they have seen a lot of ashes floating down in the sky. On the Pluto. Captain, you're too much, you can get rid of all the zombie soldiers alone. I want to play with these undead zombie soldiers. In this regard, Galio expressed very aggrieved. Zombies, what a rare species, he didn't even catch a few to play with, and he was burned to ashes by Ye Chen all at once. Can he not be aggrieved? Gario is right. This time, even Ulquiorra and Acids were on Galio's side. Didn't control the temperature for a while. In this regard, Ye Chen could only say and dealt with it. No way, he originally thought that these immortal zombies, since they can't even kill Pluto's cannons, they should be somewhat capable. Who knows, they are really so vulnerable. Oh, what an undead zombie. Burned to ashes, see how they are resurrected. Ye Chen and his party are still talking and laughing. But Gecko Moria and the three weirds who received the news were terrified. What? The whole army is annihilated, all turned into ashes. Moonlight can't bring them back to life. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Gecko Moria's roar sounded from the castle. What's impossible? Ye Chen didn't do anything at the beginning of the Chambord Islands, so he turned all 3 celestial dragons and a marine unit into ashes. Didn't we know it for a long time? Perona sighed. She knew that they shouldn't provoke the man Ye Chen. Gecko Moria ignored Perona's complaints, but said to her. Perona, you stay in the castle. If Ye Chen and a group of people break into the castle, you will interfere with them with negative ghosts. I will immediately resurrect the super zombie Oars. Gecko Moria said, leaving the castle as if fleeing. Watching Gecko Moria leave the castle in a panic, Perona even had an ominous premonition. Doesn't this guy want to leave her and run away? If this is the case, leave the woman and run away, his captain is too low. Fortunately, Gecko Moria did not run away, he really went to wake up the super zombie Oars. However, to wake up the super zombie, relying on the souls plundered from ordinary people, it is impossible to wake up the super zombie Oars, even if it is awakened, it cannot be controlled. In the original book, Gecko Moria successfully awakened the super zombie Oz after harvesting the shadow of the protagonist Luffy. So, how does Gecko Moria awaken the super zombie Oz? I don't know this. Anyway, he should have other ways. On both sides of the river, the undead zombie soldiers have been completely burned to ashes by Ye Chen, and there is no slag. Naturally there is no possibility of reorganizing the corpse to resurrect. Galio, Ulquiorra, and Acedes, the three militant guys, suddenly felt a lack of interest. Seeing this, Doflamingo quickly spoke for Ye Chen. It doesn't matter, besides these undead zombies, there are more fun things on the horror bark. As far as I know, Gecko Moria, the owner of the terrifying three-masted sailboat, collected the corpse of a huge demon and made it into a super zombie. The Devil Oz is several times the size of the ordinary giants, and is a real super giant. After Doflamingo said so, the three of Acedes just regained their spirits. Chapter 178. Is it true, Dover, what you said is true. Super Zombie Oz, ha ha ha, Lousy is looking forward to it too much. There was even light in Han Galio's eyes. He intends to compare his fist size with this Super Zombie Oz. Look, is it the Super Zombie's big fist, or his righteous punch, big? Doflamingo is right, let's go. Ye Chen is very satisfied. It seems that Doflamingo is pretty good at being a human being. Cut. Luo is naturally very dissatisfied that Doflamingo will only please Ye Chen. In this way, the ordinary crew was left to guard the Hades, and Ye Chen took the others and got off the ship. Anyway, the zombie soldiers have been completely wiped out by Ye Chen, and he is not afraid that they will no longer be attacked on the Pluto. Even if the other party keeps one hand, it doesn't matter if they haven't sent all the zombie soldiers. The firepower of the Pluto is not something ordinary zombie soldiers can withstand. Big deal, one more shot. After leaving the Pluto, Ye Chen released observation Haki, and immediately locked down the hogback and his party not far away. There is a powerful energy over there. It seems that it should be one of the three monsters of the terrifying bark. In addition to him, there are more than a dozen groups of weird energy. It should be the swordsman Ryoma and other zombie generals. Ye Chen murmured. When Doflamingo heard the words, he admired Ye Chen even more. Unexpectedly, Ye Chen even knew the secret thing about the corpse of the swordsman Ryoma being stolen by Gecko Moria. In Doflamingo's view, Ye Chen is almost omniscient. He, a spy and a careerist who has spread all over the world, sometimes doesn't know as much as Ye Chen knows. After knowing the specific location, several people swept away in the direction pointed by Ye Chen. Sure enough, I soon found Abu Sarum and Hogback, as well as a dozen zombie generals they led, and a large number of animal zombies. What? Ye Chen was a little surprised when he saw Hogback and Abu Sarum the lion. From the looks of these two people, they are indeed Hugok and Abu Sarum among the three weirdos. This is absolutely impossible to be wrong. However, Ye Chen is strange that the vitality he felt at the beginning was clearly only one person. Why are there three weirdos here? And many more. Ye Chen immediately noticed something wrong. For Abu Sarum, the furry lion man, it turned out to be a lion puppet. Indeed, because of the darkness of the night and the dense fog, if you don't look carefully, you really can't see that Abu Sarum, the lion man, is not a living person. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's a zombie toy puppet in the shape of a lion man. Is Absalom a zombie toy puppet in the shape of a lion man? This is inconsistent with the original work. Indeed, the horror bark is almost all zombies. But Ye Chen remembers clearly that none of the three monsters was captured by Gecko Moria. In other words, the three monsters are all living talents. But now, the scene in front of me does not seem to be the same. The transparent fruit ability, Absalom is not a living person. And many more. Ye Chen thought of something again. Abu Sarum is a transparent fruit capable person, and Shiryu of the Rain on top of the war is also a transparent fruit capable person. In the original work, after killing Abu Sarum, Shiryu of the Rain obtained the transparent fruit of the latter and ate it. I just mastered the ability of transparent fruit. So to say, with such an analysis, Ye Chen suddenly realized it. It seems that the plot has undergone tremendous changes. Ye Chen didn't feel anything wrong with Shiryu's ability to display transparent fruits when he was on top of the war at the beginning. Now that I think about it, I feel that it is very wrong. Because in the original book, Absalom was only caught by the Blackbeard thieves and killed 2 years after the top war. After that, the ability of the transparent fruit was acquired by Shiryu of Rain who ate the transparent fruit. In the current plot, it is obvious that Abu Sarum is already dead. His transparent fruit ability has long been acquired by Shiryu of Rain. And now Abu Sarum is actually just a zombie general resurrected by Gecko Moria with his shadow ability. In this way, everything is explained clearly. Even if the protagonist group had never arrived at the horror bark, Abu Sarum was still dead, and the transparent fruit fell into the hands of Shiryu of Rain. 0 Find flowers 0. History is still running on its original trajectory. Is this the inertia of history? It seems that even with him as an outsider, he cannot easily change the trend of history. No, the terrorist three-masted sailing pirate group should have been defeated and disintegrated by this time, but it did not appear. Therefore, the system arranged for him to come. Of course, this is a coincidence, or it was deliberately arranged by the system. Ye Chen didn't know it, and he didn't bother to figure it out. Gecko Moria is a little bit interesting. If he doesn't do anything to him, he can even pat his butt and leave after completing the sign-in task without staying. But since Gecko Moria chose to resist, he would be blamed for Ye Chen's ruthlessness. Who? Ye Chen. And Ulquiorra, accedes, Galio. Doflamingo, why are you here? Sure enough, the rumors from the outside world are true. Since the Don Quixote family has been reduced to a family under the Black Crow pirate group. Absalom and Hakubic only discovered that someone was coming. When they saw Ye Chen and his group, they almost didn't freak out. Hakubic, Absalom, if you two are more interesting, don't resist, join us, and fight Gecko Moria together. Maybe, Lord Ye Chen has a large number, and it might spare you a little life. Doflamingo said. Obviously, he also found something wrong with Absalom. This guy turned out to be a zombie toy puppet. Why didn't he know? Heh, what a joke. Hogback was terrified, but he could do anything other than pretend to be calm. Gecko Moria is not only his captain, but also his benefactor, even his bowl. Without Gecko Moria's reuse of him, he was nothing more than a bad doctor who regarded money over saving lives in the eyes of people. His medical talent is impossible to reuse at all. As for Abu Sarum, he is now a zombie with pre-mortal consciousness. Gecko Moria is his master, so naturally he is even more unlikely to betray him. Force. Chapter 179. Seeing that the 2-3 monsters were so decisive, Ye Chen felt that there was nothing to say. Do it. Ye Chen indicated that Doflamingo and others could do it. HMPH, let's do it, we are not afraid of you. Come on, General Zombie. Hakubic's mouth was stiff, but in fact, he was terribly scared. So, after giving the order to let the zombie general rush to deal with Ye Chen and his party, he took the opportunity to run away. As for his companion Abu Sarum, he also directly abandoned it. Anyway, Abu Sarum would definitely not run away, and it would be useless to pull him up. Besides, he has already died once, what if he died again? It's him, but a living human, a dog's life matters. Want to run. The swordsman Ryoma and other zombie generals have been preempted by Ulquiorra and his party. No way, Luo can only go after the 27 and want to take the opportunity to escape Hakubic. Swish, 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 poison gas. Hearing the movement of someone chasing him behind him, Hakubic quickly turned around and threw a cloud of poison gas at the chaser. Small bugs. Surgery room. Luo directly displayed the ability of Op Fruit. In this operating space, poison gas is not effective against him. Gamma knife. What? As Luo's cold voice sounded, Hakubic let out a scream. Spare. I regret it, I can join you and fight Gecko Moria together. In addition, I am a genius surgeon, and I can stay in your Black Crow pirates as a ship doctor. Hobakik quickly begged for mercy. Luo did not expect Hogback to be so vulnerable. It seems that Hakubic is not a capable person, and a group with poor strength. The only thing about him is that he is probably a genius surgeon. Sorry, the Black Crow Pirates already has me as a genius surgeon as a ship doctor, but there is no need for another genius surgeon. Luo Leng said coldly. He will not let others jeopardize his position. Although Luo is quite confident in his medical skills. Being a peer is an enemy, isn't it? Go to hell. Flop. The ghost cried out of the sheath and into the sheath, and the light of the sword flashed by. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Then Hakubic was cut in half directly. The dead can't die anymore. It is estimated that only Gecko Moria arrived in time and harvested his shadow, before he might have the opportunity to turn him into a zombie and resurrect him. But obviously, Gecko Moria will not appear now. Ye Chen naturally didn't say anything about Luo directly beheading the genius surgeon Hogback. After all, Luo was right. The Black Crow Pirates already had Luo as a ship doctor, and there was no need for another ship doctor. The members of the Black Crow Pirates have always been the best. There is Luo, the world's first genius surgeon, and what else is the world's second genius surgeon? Withdrawing his gaze, Ye Chen cast his gaze on the zombie of the swordsman Ryoma who was fighting Ulquiorra. Swordsman Ryoma, worthy of the legendary Dragon Slayer swordsman, even if he became a zombie, his strength was still good. After all, he is not a real swordsman Ryoma, just a zombie. At best, he will display the strength of the swordsman Ryoma 30%. In addition, the one who was lodged in the corpse of the swordsman Ryoma was not the shadow of Zoro, but the shadow of a second-rate swordsman. Therefore, Ulquiorra simply hangs him. This is because Ulquiorra is too lazy to play seriously. If he is serious, it is estimated that a Black Sero can beat him. The situation of Galio and Doflamingo is similar. The zombies they deal with, in addition to the zombie general, there are also a lot of animal zombies, such as the three-headed zombie dog Cyboras, the human head bat Hilton and so on. But whether it is a zombie general or an animal zombie, Galio and Doflamingo are not rivals. Galio can just punch a righteous punch casually, and he can kill a zombie general in seconds. And Doflamingo is more ruthless, directly using the invisible 5-color strings, entwining more than a dozen animal zombies. Then, with a cruel sneer, he gently pulled 5-color strings. More than a dozen animal zombies were cut into countless pieces in such an instant. In addition to the ordinary zombie generals and animal zombies, there are also a few more tricky zombie generals, such as Guro Kase, Talara, Captain John and so on. Before they were alive, they were all strong, very strong. But it is still not the opponent of Ulquiorra, Galio, Doflamingo and Luo. 0. With the strength of the 4 of them, it is only a matter of time before these zombies are to be eliminated. Moreover, it is estimated that it will not take long. The horrible 3-masted pirate group, But even if it won't take too long, Ye Chen doesn't plan to continue watching. It's weird, our Ice Queen didn't even participate in the hands-on. Ye Chen glanced at Acedes who had been standing beside him, jokingly. Indeed, changing to the previous Acedes, fighting such things, she must be the first to take the lead. I always have a weird feeling, I think it's better to stay by your side. Ace Day murmured to himself. This feeling is becoming more and more obvious. Oh, Ye Chen didn't ask much about this. Although, because of the life card, the 2 of them are connected, but under normal circumstances, Ye Chen will not deliberately spy on the secrets and thoughts in Acedes' heart. Just like Acedes, he would not deliberately spy on Ye Chen's secrets and thoughts. Therefore, Ye Chen doesn't know why Acedes feels this weird. Let's go, let's find out the owner of this terrifying 3-masted sailing ship. Ye Chen spoke to Acedes. Obviously he has resisted the terrorist 3-masted sailing ship, but has not received the message from the system that the sign in mission is completed, which is enough to show that he has not arrived at the correct location. According to Ye Chen's speculation, it is estimated that the place where the castle of Gecko Moria is located, which is the body of the horror 3-masted sailing ship, will be considered successful. Without further ado, naturally, the sooner Gecko Moria is found, the better. There is no need to waste time here. As for Abu Sarum and the ghost generals, just leave them to Galio and Ulquiorra. Okay. Acedes nodded and naturally agreed with pleasure. So the 2 went to a castle in the distance together. I have to say that the 3-masted horror ship is indeed the largest pirate ship in the world, even larger than some large islands. After crossing the forest, it is a large town. In the middle of the town, there is a huge castle, which looks like a wine barrel and a church. Chapter 180. At the top of the castle, there is also a huge pirate flag. The flag is a skull with flaming hair and a pair of bat wings with flames. It is the flag of the horror bark. There is no doubt that this castle is the residence of Gecko Moria. Sure enough, when Ye Chen took Acedes with his front foot against the town, the sound of the system rang in his back foot. Congratulations to host, sign in successfully, get reward, spiritual time house. Ye Chen was stunned when he heard that the reward was actually the spiritual time house. The spiritual time house, that is inside the Dragon Ball, Monkey King and others, used to quickly improve their cultivation. Inside the spiritual time house, food, water, and rooms are all available. The air is thin and extremely hot. The temperature is between 50 degrees Celsius and minus 40 degrees Celsius, and gravity is 10 times higher than usual. There is a vast space like the Earth, weak-willed and lack of concentration are prone to hallucinations. And what is even more peculiar is that spending a year there is only a day in the outside world. Even in the late stage of Dragon Ball, the spiritual time house can still come in handy. The only drawback is that a person can only go in for 2 days in a lifetime. If it exceeds the time period, the entrance and exit of the spiritual time house will disappear, and the person will be trapped in the world of the spiritual time house forever and never get out again. In this regard, Ye Chen is naturally a little bit regretful. But when I thought that anyone could go to the spiritual time room to practice, then if the Black Crow pirate group, including all its members, were thrown into the spiritual time room to practice for 2 days, that is, 2 years. Come out again, don't their Black Crow pirates directly have the strength to fight against the world government? Thinking of this, Ye Chen's heart is still a little excited. As expected of the system, I really know my heart. But having said that, the reward this time is actually a character reward. Ye Chen originally thought that this time the system would reward him with a powerful character in another world as his companion. In this way, he doesn't have to struggle to find a companion on his own. But now it seems that the rewards are random, and the rewards of character rewards can be met. Companion, it seems that you have to find it on your own. Putting aside the thoughts in his mind, Ye Chen took Acedes and continued to swoop towards the castle where Gecko Moria lived. Looking down from a high altitude, the whole town is still a bit bustling and lively, but a closer look will reveal that the residents in the town are all rotten zombies. Ignoring these zombie residents, Ye Chen and Acedes came to the castle soon. It's weirdly quiet here. After arriving at the castle, Ace Daisy immediately spoke. Well, indeed. Ye Chen also felt that it was too quiet, although he knew very well that there were not many living people except Gecko Moria and the 3 weirds. But such a huge and quiet castle still gives people a gloomy and grim feeling. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Inside the castle. No, are they at the castle yet? When Perona heard the report from the spy ghost, Warong was shocked. Who is Ye Chen, Admiral Terminator, the strongest man in the world? She doesn't think that she, who has no power to bind the chicken, will be Ye Chen's opponent. Besides, she is not good at fighting either. How to do it? Perona was really scared, But at this time, the only Gecko Moria she could rely on, ran to awaken the super zombie Oz and has not returned. Damn Gecko Moria, shouldn't you really leave this princess and run away? 555. Gecko Moria hasn't come back for a long time, and I have to make Perona wonder if he really left her and ran away alone. Thinking about this, Perona became even more frightened, and her hands holding the pink umbrella began to tremble. What to do? It's too late to escape now. Or, hide it now. The castle is so big, as long as this princess is hidden, they will not find this princess so soon. No, it is said that Ye Chen is proficient in Conqueror's Haki, which means that as long as he turns on observation Haki, it is useless for me to hide anywhere in the castle. Wow, what should I do now? Perona was about to cry as she spoke. The ghosts floating behind her were a little weak to complain when they saw this. Finally, a white ghost whispered and said, "Your Royal Highness. You are the commander of scary zombies. How can you be scared like this by two humans?" Yes. Perona heard the words and calmed down a bit. This princess can scare the commander of the zombie, why hasn't she started scaring, but she was scared first. Yes, Your Royal Highness, you must really scare these two humans who dare to break into the castle. Grey Ghost also took the opportunity to encourage him. Your Royal Highness, the veteran is willing to lead the scary zombies and give them a little bit of power. Bai Yuling volunteered even more. Okay, Xiao Bai, this princess appoints you as the scary admiral army, and leads the scary zombies to scare them. Perona felt that the white ghost and the grey ghost made sense, so she readily agreed. Maybe, Ye Chen is the same as her, but powerful and courageous as she is. In this way, Bai Yuling led a group of scary zombies with short arms and legs and disappeared into the hall. In the spooky hallway of the castle, Ye Chen and Asides walked together, and neither of them spoke. In this way, the corridor that was already eerie enough, only the sound of two people's footsteps can be heard, it seems even more eerie and terrifying. However, just at this moment, a terrifying ghost shout suddenly came from the front. Immediately afterwards, a rotten zombie with half of its face suddenly ran out of the shadows. If this were to be a timid person, it would have been scared to pee. However, Ye Chen and Asides are both very courageous. Seeing this eerie, scary zombie, Ye Chen and Asides even wanted to laugh. What is this? A zombie suddenly ran out and scared them. Is this really scary? I'm so scared. Ace Daisy was too lazy to be polite, and quickly pulled out the long knife from his waist. Call out. The blade of light flashed by. Out of the sheath, into the sheath. All in one go. Click. The scary zombies that suddenly rushed out were neatly divided into several pieces in an instant, and fell to the ground one after another. If it's just that, that's all. In the next instant, countless neatly fragmented corpses fell from the ceiling or fell out of the dark corner. Chapter 181. Crackling. The rotten pieces of zombie, like raindrops, fell all over the corridor. That scene was not only horrible, but also a bit disgusting. It turned out that Asides had seen everything through. The scary zombies that rushed out were just an introduction, and there were more scary zombies hiding in the ceiling and dark corners. Now that she knows this, she is naturally not polite. All the scary zombies were directly solved with a single blow. Seeing this, even Ye Chen had to admit that after obtaining the life card, Asides' strength has indeed increased a lot. But, at this point, everything is not over yet. Suddenly, the noise of ghosts became louder. A white shadow overwhelmed the sky. What is this? Ghost. Asides' pupils shrank instantly, watching this scene in disbelief. For a while, he didn't even react. Of course she was not afraid of ghosts. It's just that there are ghosts in this world, which she never expected. Ye Chen is very calm about this. Sure enough, is Princess Mononoke Perona in this castle? Ghost. Huh, interesting. Ye Chen knows very well that this white ghost looks scary, but in fact it has no offensive power. Of course, Ye Chen did not take this lightly. He knew very well that he could not let the ghost pass through his body, otherwise, he would suffer. On Ye Chen, Haki spread out suddenly. This Haki is so powerful and pure. Haki. Oh, you want to rely on Haki to deal with me, boy, you are a little too young. Seeing Ye Chen using Haki against him, Bai Yuling couldn't help but mock. It's a spirit body, so it's not afraid of Haki. However, Bai Yuling was obviously happy too early. Boom. With a muffled sound, the white ghost seemed to hit an iron wall, and was directly knocked into the air by Haki. How can it be? This is Conqueror's Haki. How could there be such a pure Conqueror's Haki in this world? The white ghost was almost shocked by Conqueror's Haki. At the moment, where he dared to stay, he quickly took advantage of it as a spirit body and fled through the wall. Want to run. Upon seeing this, Asides wanted to draw his sword and cut the ceiling open, leaving the white ghost behind. However, it was stopped by Ye Chen. It's useless, it's just a spirit body. If you leave it, you won't be able to kill it. What's more, you won't be able to keep it. Hearing this, Asides just let go of his right hand holding the handle of the knife. In the hall, after seeing what happened in the corridor through the way of getting out of her body, Perona paled with fright again. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Can you attack the spirit body? It's over. It's over. Perona knew very well that the spirit body created by her ghost fruit ability could not be defeated by general attacks. Even the physical attacks blessed by armament Haki can be completely immune. There are also magic attacks such as fire and lightning, which will not cause damage to the spirit body. The spirit body can be understood as just an image. How can the image be afraid of physical attacks, fire, and lightning strikes? It can be said that even Perona herself does not know that. It turns out that Conqueror's Haki, which is pure to a certain degree, can attack the spirit body. The gray ghost on the side was shocked to see that the white ghost was almost lost in spirit. As ghosts, what are they most afraid of? His Royal Highness, the big thing is not good. These two humans are not simple, they are not afraid of being scared. Your Royal Highness, scary zombies are not effective on them, you should send wild beast zombies to deal with them. Poison them. Cough cough, cough. At this moment, Bai Yuling came back in a panic. While it was yelling that something was bad, it coughed violently, and even coughed up bleeding. Seeing this scene, Grey Ghost's face paled in shock. Did I vomit blood because I was beaten up? And many more. Will our ghosts vomit blood? Who knows, maybe it will, because it has never been attacked by humans. It can only be this way. But who will lead the beasts and zombies to deal with them? Perona was embarrassed. She herself didn't want to deal with Ye Chen. Yes, who should I send? Grey Ghost spoke. What do you mean? Now, besides you, who else can I send? It's okay for Grey Ghost not to speak, and when she speaks, Perona will naturally have someone to choose. No, Your Royal Highness. Xiaobai is stronger than me and almost lost his soul. If you send me, he will surely lose his soul. Grey Ghost cried to his father and shouted to his mother. Stop talking nonsense, go quickly. Perona snarled. What an evil, lowly. ... In the corridor, Ye Chen and Acedes, who have just experienced scary zombies, haven't gone far. Suddenly, they discovered that countless terrible reptiles suddenly appeared on the floor and ceiling. No, to be precise, it should be a reptile zombie. What zombie spiders, zombie rats, zombie snakes, everything. Their common feature is that the body is rotten. It looks terrifying. Humans, who allowed you to trespass into the castle, get out quickly, otherwise. Oops, otherwise what's the matter? Oh, right, otherwise, you will all be killed in the castle. Grey Ghost said horribly. I didn't care at all, I almost forgot the words just now. This. Ye Chen and Acedes looked at each other, and they could see that this Grey Ghost was a funny comparison. Do it, Ye Chen said to Acedes. The next scene that happened was a bit familiar. Acedes directly froze all the animal zombies, and then directly crushed them. The Grey Ghost was directly impacted by Ye Chen and Conqueror's Haki, and it was almost shocked. Zhao. Same as before, Ye Chen could obviously kill Grey Ghost, but instead of killing it, he let it go. Acedes looked at it naturally, but said nothing. Isn't it? The beast zombies are not their opponents at all. At this moment, Perona was even crying without tears. She knew that Gecko Moria boasted how strong the scary zombies and beast zombies she commanded were all deceptive. That's it. It will be wiped out in 3 or 2 strokes, also called strong. Let's quickly find a place to hide. The castle is so big, as long as it is well hidden, they will not find this princess so easily. Yeah, that's right. It must be impossible for them to find this princess so quickly. What could Perona do? She could only comfort herself in this way. At this time, someone should stand up and tell her that there is an old saying that the more you worry about when, the more something will come. Chapter 182. Just when Perona was looking for a closet or bed underneath where she could get in and hide, Ye Chen and Acedes suddenly appeared behind Perona silently. Perona didn't notice it at all. Until, this princess is still smart, hiding here, they will definitely not find this princess. Next, they only need to wait until Moria wakes up the super zombie Oz and comes back. Perona is proud of finding a perfect hiding place for herself. And this excellent hiding place is a dusty treasure chest that looks old. The treasure chest is not large, but it is more than enough to fit him with a petite figure. At this moment, the white ghost floating above her shoulder suddenly patted her shoulder. Princess, Your Royal Highness, what's up? Perona was a little displeased. What the hell was this ghost doing? Let her be proud before interrupting her. What a disappointment. Your Royal Highness, they have already come. After the ghost whispered, he spoke. What? Who's here? Perona naturally knew who came, but she didn't want to believe it. No wonder. I said how do I feel the chill behind my back, it turns out that besides ghosts, there are other people. Oh, why am I so miserable? Perona wanted to cry without tears. But she still had the courage and turned around cautiously. When she saw Ye Chen and Acedes standing behind her, she almost jumped up without being scared. The world says that ghosts are terrible, but how can she feel that the two behind her are more terrifying than ghosts? How did you get here? Perona stammered. Ye Chen did not answer Perona's question naturally, but looked at her with interest and said, Hello, Princess Mononoke Perona. Looking at Ye Chen's eyes at Perona, Acedes understood why Ye Chen wanted to let go of the white ghost and the gray ghost. Feelings, he is interested in the master of these two ghosts. In this regard, Acedes is inevitably a little unhappy. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. You know me. Perona was also shocked when she heard this. Ye Chen, the captain of the dignified Black Crow Pirates, actually knew her. Is she really such a famous Princess Mononoke? Just when Perona was in YY, she suddenly felt a chill, and a pair of cold eyes fell on her. Isn't this woman the Ice Queen Acedes next to Ye Chen? It's so cold and terrifying. Perona expressed fear. Why are they all women? Acedes is full of hostility towards her. But Ye Chen, the terrifying Admiral Terminator in the rumors, seems to be very talkative. Princess Mononoke Perona, the person with the ability of ghost fruit, who doesn't know? Ye Chen's tone is still so kind. I heard that you are very good at manipulating ghosts. It would be a shame to stay on the horror bark. If you join our Black Crow Pirates, we'll definitely be able to do more. Ye Chen spoke straightforwardly. He clarified bluntly what he meant by enrolling Perona as a companion. Ye Chen does not deny that the reason why he suddenly wanted to recruit Perona was because she really didn't want to be too cute. Still very arrogant and cute. But the most important reason is that Perona's ghost fruit ability can indeed be regarded as an unsolvable ability. Especially the negative ghost she controls, no matter who it is, no matter how powerful it is, as long as the negative ghost passes through the body, it will become extremely negative. Although, in the original book, she didn't play any role, and she was very negative by herself, so Usopp, who was not affected by the negative influence, solved it and fainted. However, how many people can be found in this world who are as negative as Usopp? So, to some extent, Perona's ability can be said to be unsolvable. It is precisely because Perona's abilities are truly extraordinary that Gecko Moria will let her serve as the cadre of the terrifying three-masted sailboat, one of the three weirdos. Ye Chen felt that if Perona could be recruited as a member of the Black Crow Pirates, then her ghost fruit ability could be used to train all members of the Black Crow Pirates. Yes, if you want to confront the huge world government that has ruled the entire world for 800 years, Ye Chen feels that it is necessary to prepare as soon as possible. Physical training can be done by organizing various activities and even opening up the access rights of the spiritual time house. As for the spiritual aspect, just leave it to the various ghosts controlled by Perona to train it. Who can guarantee that the world government has ruled the entire world for 800 years, and there is no hidden powerhouse in mental attacks? Ye Chen doesn't want the pirate group under the Black Crow Pirate Group, such as the members of the Red Heart Pirate Group, to be brought down by the strong opponent, a Conqueror's Haki. If that's the case, what kind of confrontation is there to fight against? Could it be that the king saw the king fight? Normal wars are indeed possible. But in the case of a world war, the kings of both sides will definitely not take action until the very end. The early wars were all done with cannon fodder from both sides. In other words, whoever wants to gain an advantage in the early stage is nothing more than 2 points. One is the quantity of cannon fodder on both sides, and the other is the quality of cannon fodder on both sides. In terms of quantity, the world government has 800 years of heritage. In addition to marine, there are also army and air force. It is definitely not comparable to the quantity. It can only be compared to quality. In other words, Ye Chen values Perona's ghost fruit ability, which can be used to train members' mental stress resistance. They will not be defeated by a Conqueror's Haki. He just wanted to recruit Perona as the Black Crow Pirates. Of the members. In terms of strength, it is true that she and Acedes and others are incomparable, and even Luo is not much stronger than her. But she can definitely play an unexpected role in some special aspects. Therefore, she is still eligible to join the Black Crow Pirates. Well, these reasons are indeed far-fetched. But having said that, the Black Crow Pirates was founded by Ye Chen. As the captain, he sets the rules as he wants, right? Everything is up to him. What you said is true. I can join the Black Crow Pirates. Perona was obviously shocked when she heard this. Of course, more precisely, it is flattered. Yes, she had long heard that the Black Crow Pirates were not recruited by everyone. Chapter 183. There are even rumors that it is more difficult to become a full member of the Black Crow Pirates than to get on the Sky Island to the sky. Indeed, apart from the three, hidden, no one knows where the strong came from, except Ulquiorra, Acedes and Galio. The Black Crow and Black Thieves group has also recruited 2 full members. One is the young owner and person in charge of the Don Quixote family, and one of the 7 warlords of the sea, known as Doflamingo of Tianyasha. Another one is Trafalgar Law, the captain of the Pirates of Red Heart, a supernova who has recently gained fame. It is said that he is also an op fruit capable person. Therefore, after learning that she was favored by Ye Chen and qualified to become a full member of the Black Crow Pirates, how could Perona not be flattered? What, do you mean the Terror Bark Pirates? What is that? She is not familiar with them. Had it not been for Gecko Moria to offer her many benefits, she would also serve as the commander of animal zombies and scary zombies, who could command many zombies to serve her and serve as her own servant. She would not join such a terrifying 3-masted pirate group. Now, Ye Chen, the captain of the dignified Black Crow Pirate Group, a rare handsome guy, personally invited her to join. Of course, she would not refuse. However, before Ye Chen could reply, Acedes' icy voice rang first. If you want to join the Black Crow Pirates, you must also have the qualifications and strength. Acedes, he was a little jealous when he saw Ye Chen being so polite to Perona. Now, I heard that Ye Chen planned to invite Perona to join the Black Crow Pirates. Can she stand it? Of course not. She will not let any woman rob her of her position in Ye Chen's heart. In this regard, Ye Chen didn't know what to say. Ace Daisy, you have a double standard. I think when you wanted to recruit Luo as a new member, you didn't object at all. Why now? You seem to be very resistant to recruiting a cute girl to join the Black Crow Pirates. Of course, the two have the same mind, and Ye Chen doesn't know what Aceeds' mind is. It seems that someone has overturned the jealous jar. It turned out that after the woman overturned the vinegar jar, it turned out to be so terrible. However, Ye Chen did not stop it. Because he also wanted to take this opportunity to see Perona's ability. No, Sister Aceeds, have something to say. Perona was shocked when she heard this. She is just a little girl without the power to bind a chicken, how can she be the opponent of the world-famous Queen of Ice? Perona wanted to cry, she didn't remember that she had offended Aceeds. Why did she bite her? Sister. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Aceeds heard this, how could he not be angry? Who is the eldest sister? Do you think you are lowly, so you can just call it the eldest sister? Stop talking nonsense, take it. Aceeds didn't want to talk nonsense with Perona, pulled out the saber on his waist and slashed at Puro. Perhaps because Ye Chen wanted to recruit Perona, Aceeds did not kill him. At most, it displayed 20% of the strength. However, even if it only displays 20% of the strength, in the eyes of a person of Perona's level, the power is still terrifying. Seeing the sword she cut, Perona dared to be half-hearted, and fluttered to the side to dodge. Flop. Perona leaned on her lightly ghostly physique. Although she avoided the sword aura without danger, the sharp, deep cold sword aura still made her creepy. She couldn't help but glanced back, and this glance didn't scare her to tears. I saw that the wall behind her was directly cut open by the sword chi, and there was thick ice in the gap. This is all about putting her to death. With this strength, you want to join the Black Crow Pirates. Try Perona's strength, at most the entry level of the lieutenant, let alone admiral, even the elite lieutenant is completely incomparable, Aceeds even more disdain. This level of strength is not worthy to join the Black Crow Pirates and become a full member of the Black Crow Pirates. However, Ye Chen doesn't seem to think so. No. Seeing Aceeds holding a sharp famous knife, rushing towards him. Perona was even more shocked. Negative ghost. In a hurry, she didn't care how big the power gap between the two parties was, and quickly displayed a negative ghost. 0 find flowers 0. When the white ghost and the gray ghost heard Perona's call, although they were terrified in their hearts, they did not dare to defy the master's order and flew towards Aceeds. But this time, they have also learned to be smart. Instead of scaring this woman who is 100 times more terrifying than them, no, 1,000 times more terrifying, it would be better to just disappear, so that she can't catch them. Therefore, the two ghosts suddenly became semi-transparent during the flight. If you don't look closely, you can't catch them at all. Humph. In response, Aceeds just snorted. She knew that the white ghost and the gray ghost would only put on airs, and actually had no offensive power, so she didn't put them in the slightest. 0. Arrogance is self-confidence in one's own strength, but sometimes, arrogance is obviously not a good thing. Call out. Call out. Two ghosts passed through Aceeds' body. In the next second, Aceeds realized that something was wrong, but unfortunately, it was too late. What should I do if Master Ye Chen doesn't like me? Woo, so uncomfortable. After being passed through by the ghost, Aceeds became extremely negative. She felt weak in all her limbs, and she didn't want to get up on the ground. It is hard to imagine that a woman as powerful as Aceeds could be so vulnerable to a negative ghost. Even Ye Chen, who knows Perona's abilities, is unavoidably surprised to see this scene. Is this the fruiting ability of Perona? Ye Chen has a new understanding of Perona's fruiting ability. Even more imba, real-time strategy game term, unbalanced meaning, than in the original book. But think about it, the more self-confident people, the greater the effect of negative ghosts. On the contrary, those who are not very strong, have no self-confidence at all, and are very negative in themselves, the negative ghosts have very little influence on them. For example, Usopp. Of course, although the negative specter is insoluble, it is not really insoluble. The stronger the strength, the shorter the time to be affected by the negative ghost. With Aceeds' current strength, even his own strength is already strong enough. Therefore, her negativity only lasted about 4 or 5 seconds before returning to normal force. Chapter 184. After returning to normal, Aceeds was shocked. How could she become so negative? Could it be that this is the reason why she has been faintly disturbed in her heart? But after regaining consciousness, Aceeds was furious. Asshole boy, dare to do this to me. I felt humiliated, especially when I was ashamed in front of the person I cared about the most, Ye Chen. Aceeds was naturally furious and wanted to cut Perona in half with a single knife. Perona saw that Aceeds was affected by the negative ghost, and she was secretly grateful. Who knows, she didn't have time to be happy for long, and Aceeds had recovered. Boy, die, Ace Des snapped. Wow, no, Perona was so frightened that she didn't even need the small parasol in her hand, and hurriedly fled. But Perona's speed is not as fast as Aceeds's. 230. In just an instant, she was overtaken by Aceeds. Seeing that Acedes was about to succeed, Perona was about to suffer. Don't want to hurt Her Royal Highness. At this moment, the parasol that Perona abandoned casually started talking. It turned out to be a zombie too. In order to cover his owner, the parasol zombie fought hard, turned into a pink light, and stabbed at Acedes at a very fast speed. However, the speed is for the average person, for Acedes. Acedes cut the parasol zombie in half with a sword in his hand and froze. Little parasol, wow, you died terribly. The white ghost and the gray ghost were moved by the action of the parasol zombie to protect the owner. Although, it can be said that it was completely free, and it did not stop Acedes at all. But it does not deny that it is indeed a good umbrella. Little parasol, even Perona was moved. There is still time to hurt the spring and sad autumn here. Acedes' icy voice sounded again. At this time, Perona didn't have the intention to be moved. It was important to escape. Negative ghost. Perona repeats her old tricks. The two ghosts whizzed and flew towards Acedes again. However, Acedes, who has suffered a loss once, will not be fooled again. Immediately, she turned sideways and turned around, avoiding the attack of the two ghosts with a very elegant and unrestrained movement. Maybe she can't see the ghosts in the transparent state, but with her strength, she can still feel the trajectory of their flight. The negative ghost failed to penetrate Acedes' body, so it is naturally impossible to affect her. Do you think I will be fooled twice with the same move? Ace Daisy snorted coldly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Perona was shocked again when she heard this. For her, this is desperate. Ghost bomb. Panicked, Perona could only display her abilities and summoned a huge ghost bomb. However, this powerful ghost bomb is still very lethal to ordinary people, such as the Straw Hat Pirates. But for Acedes, splitting ice fist, Ace Daisy made a direct, ice-cracking fist, which directly froze the ghost bomb, and then directly smashed it. Isn't it? That's okay. Perona was frightened silly. HMPH, see what other moves you have. Ace Daisy snorted coldly. Just when she planned to solve Perona in her next move, suddenly, she felt cold in her chest, as if something had penetrated her. Ha ha. Even if you are strong, you are too careless. Perona smiled forcefully. It turned out that the ghost bomb was just a cover, and Perona just used it to distract Acedes' attention, so that the white ghost and the gray ghost could turn back again and pass through Acedes' body from behind. Once the negative ghost passes through the body, the consequences are naturally imaginable. Woo, so uncomfortable, so negative. I was too careless, so careless, Master Ye Chen must be disappointed in me. Acedes lay on the ground again, and his whole person became extremely negative. Your Royal Highness, run while she is still in a negative state. After Bai Yuling flew back to Perona, he quickly reminded. Oh, yes, run. Perona reacted and hurriedly ran away. Unfortunately, she has just rushed out of the hall, and Acedes has returned to normal again. Damn it kid, die. After returning to normal, Acedes became even more angry. But even if she was angry, she still remained absolutely calm zero. She dragged the famous knife in her hand and walked towards Perona step by step. The tip of the knife was on the ground, rubbing a series of sparks. No, Perona paled with fright. As the three monsters, she has encountered many powerful opponents. Many opponents rushed forward without saying a word, trying to kill her. But she had never felt so scared. This kind of pressing suffocation is desperate. The ghost clone. Mini ghost bomb. Extraordinary ghost kamikaze bomb. Negative ghost. In shock, Perona didn't care about that much, she used all her skills in a single brain. Humph. Acedes snorted coldly, combined with the power of the ice, and cut out with a single knife, breaking most of Perona's moves in an instant. However, she was a little helpless with the trick of the negative ghost. You can hide, but you can only hide for a while. Negative ghosts are simply overwhelming. Accidentally, Acedes was hit again. Woo, so uncomfortable. Acedes fell into a negative state again. Extraordinary ghost kamikaze bomb. This time, Perona no longer just flees, but instead mustered up the courage to attack Acedes while she was in a negative state. However, the huge ghost bomb just rushed in front of Acedes, before it exploded. Acedes has recovered. Splitting ice fist. After an ice fist smashed the kamikaze bomb, Acedes' cold eyes became even colder. Just one glance is like falling into an ice cave. Damn it's kid. Look at it, Moko Bottomo. Maybe it was because of being repeatedly affected by the negative ghosts, and feeling lost, Ace Day moved for real. In fact, even the hidden ability of the Ice Emperor, Mokbo Timo, has been displayed. Sure enough, Ye Chen, who had been paying attention to all of this, felt thoughtful when he saw it. Through observation, he discovered that Perona's negative ghost is indeed unsolvable. But through training, you can still improve your resistance to negative ghosts. Chapter 185. For example, in the first strike, Acedes' negative state will last for 5 seconds. But the second time, it only lasted 3 seconds. By the third time, the time was even shorter. Although this is related to the strong spirit of Acedes, Ye Chen believes that other people can become stronger after training. As long as the spirit is strong enough, then you can resist the large-scale impact of Conqueror's Haki. Negative ghost. Impossible. Are you unaffected by time stagnation? Woo. Uncomfortable. Acedes was less and less affected by the negative ghost, but Perona was equally surprised. Perhaps because of her spiritual body, she was not affected by the stagnation of time. Similarly, the white ghosts and gray ghosts she controls are naturally not affected by time stagnation. Because of this, Acedes was careless, and was again passed through by two negative ghosts. For a time, it became extremely negative. But soon, she returned to normal again. Go to hell. Oh 9 Ace Daisy said coldly. At this time, Ye Chen had a general understanding of Perona's strength and abilities. In order to prevent Acedes from actually hurting Perona, Ye Chen is planning to stop. But at this moment, an extremely powerful aura suddenly appeared. Rumble. The earth was trembling, and the entire terrifying three-masted sailing ship was trembling. What happened? Could it be that Gecko Moria finally awakened the super zombie Oz? After a little analysis, Ye Chen knew what was going on. However, when he was distracted, Acedes had chased Perona and disappeared before his eyes. Perona relied on her light and incomparably flexible physique, coupled with her familiarity with the castle's terrain, hiding from the east, and the help of various ghosts. Even if the opponent was Acedes, she couldn't help her for a while. But Perona knows very well that this is definitely not the way to go. At exactly this time, a violent earthquake occurred, and Perona naturally knew how the earthquake was caused. She saw hope and quickly guided Acedes to a certain direction. Acedes, who had been dazzled by anger, did not think so much, so he chased after him. She is really angry now. Unfortunately, she can't kill Perona. After all, Ye Chen intends to recruit Perona as a member of the Black Crow Pirates. If she kills her, or accidentally severely injured her, Ye Chen will definitely be upset. Acedes just wanted to take her down and teach her a little lesson, but unfortunately, this guy's abilities are very strange. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Various ghosts can be summoned to interfere with her. Especially the negative ghost, it made her face completely lost. Gradually, the two ran farther and farther and disappeared into the depths of the castle. Ye Chen did not rush to catch up. He knows very well that Acedes has a sense of measure. Since he had something to say first, and wanted to recruit Perona to become a member of the Black Crow Pirates, then even if Acedes was angry, she would not kill Perona. At most, it's just a little lesson for this loli who likes to play pranks. Because of this, Ye Chen didn't have anything to worry about, and followed it leisurely. Rumble. The earth was still trembling violently. Gecko Moria was stunned. Impossible. Laozi's shadow can't control Oz. Is this impossible? It turned out that Gecko Moria had intended to use his shadow to wake Oz and control him. But he found that his shadow seemed to only awaken Oz, but he couldn't control him. To put it bluntly, his shadow is too weak. Even the shadow of Luffy is 10 or 100 times stronger than him. Also, over the years, no matter what he did, he relied on his subordinates, and his strength hadn't improved at all, or even regressed. So, where can his shadow be so powerful? It would be good to be able to awaken Oz. It was precisely because he could not control Oz that Gecko Moria disappeared for a long time, and he did not dedicate himself for a long time. Just when Gecko Moria slumped on the ground, not knowing what to do or how to control the super zombie Oz that had been awakened. Outside the door, suddenly there was a mess of movement. Master Gecko Moria, help! The door of the basement suddenly opened. Perona rushed in tears, and it was enough to see how scared she was from her panicked and pale face. What's the matter, Perona? Although Gecko Moria is not very strong, he still cares about his subordinates, especially the three monsters. Otherwise, in the original book, when Gecko Moria was hunted down by Doflamingo, his subordinate Abu Sarum would not desperately save him. However, as soon as the words were asked, Gecko Moria understood it in the next second. As soon as Perona stepped into the basement with her front foot, Acedes appeared with her back foot. Her whole body was covered with layers of chill, and it was chilling just to feel the chill. Even Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, could not help feeling a cold back after feeling the chill. Gecko Moria was even more shocked when he saw the raging fire in Acedes' eyes. He couldn't figure out how Perona provoked this powerful woman and completely angered her. Master Gecko Moria, help! Seeing that Gecko Moria was actually frightened, Perona hurriedly spoke again. HMPH, no one can save you. Ace Day pressed harder towards Perona. She has a long knife in her hand, even covered with a layer of light blue ice. It's a big breath. No one can hurt me, Gecko Moria's men. Shadow Warrior. After Gecko Moria recovered, in order to protect Perona, he decisively summoned a Shadow Warrior exactly like himself and launched an attack on Acedes in an attempt to stop her. However, for Acedes, even Gecko Moria of 7 warlords of the sea, the gap between her strength and hers is too much. Call out. Hand up the knife and drop. The Shadow Warrior summoned by Gecko Moria was directly cut in half by Acedes and turned into a shadow and disappeared. This. Gecko Moria was stunned. Although the Shadow Warrior is just a shadow, it can be said that it is a clone created by him, and the strength is similar to his body. But even if it was a Shadow Warrior, he couldn't resist Acedes' knife. Regarding this, Gecko Moria is not shocked. Is this the Acedes who is called the Queen of Ice beside Ye Chen? Chapter 186. This is too powerful. The people around Ye Chen are so strong, then Ye Chen, isn't he even stronger? Thinking of this, Gecko Moria was really shocked. He even started to regret that he shouldn't fight Ye Chen anymore. Perhaps, you should abandon the Terror three-masted sailboat from the beginning, and fleeing is the most correct choice. Unfortunately, it is too late to regret now. You are Gecko Moria, take it to death. When he came, Asides also learned some information about the horror bark like Ye Chen. So, it was not surprising that she could recognize Gecko Moria. Since she knew that the other party was Gecko Moria, she was not very polite. She just can't kill Perona. As for Gecko Moria, oh, she hasn't heard Ye Chen say that she also wants to recruit him as a member of the Black Crow Pirates. So, it doesn't matter if you kill him. Thinking of this, Asides decisively shot Gecko Moria. Moko bottom. As Asides uttered these 5 words lightly, Gecko Moria's face instantly turned pale. Because he could feel a terrible chill covering his whole body. Immediately afterwards, the surrounding time seemed to stagnate, and the flow of time became extremely slow. Gecko Moria can even clearly see that the long knife covered with ice in Asides' hand has been wiped towards his long neck. It looks slow, but it is surprisingly fast. Gecko Moria knew very well that if the knife were really wiped on his neck, even if he had 10 lives, he would definitely die. He wanted to struggle, but he couldn't. Time is frozen, how can he struggle? Seeing that Gecko Moria was about to die under Asides' long knife, at this moment, Perona, who was not affected by the time lag, finally couldn't stand it anymore, and decisively made a move to help Gecko Moria. Negative ghost backquote. As the white ghost and gray ghost passed through Asides' body, Asides became negative again. Not only did the time stagnation disappear, but even the long knife in his hand fell to the ground because he couldn't grasp it. Call. Perona gasped. She ran to the basement, obviously for Gecko Moria to shelter her. She never expected that Gecko Moria could not shelter her, but she saved his life instead. As a result, Perona was even more disappointed with Gecko Moria. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Indeed, this guy is not worthy of her following. He is not worthy. However, Gecko Moria did not notice Perona's disappointment. He was immediately ecstatic when he saw that Asides was affected by the negative ghost. Good chance. Gecko Moria yelled, taking advantage of Asides' negative state, and took out a huge pair of scissors that he carried with him from behind. With a click, Asides' shadow was cut off by Gecko Moria. Ah. Perona was also stunned by the sudden change. Hey Luo, since Lousy's shadow can't control the super zombie Oz, what about the Ice Queen? It is impossible for the Ice Queen's shadow, nor can it control the super zombie Oz. Gecko Moria let out a weird laugh. Indeed, he does not deny that the Ice Queen is much stronger than him, and almost never sent him to the west. But the stronger the Ice Queen, the better. With her strength, her shadow must be enough to control the super zombie Oz. After cutting the shadow of Asides, Gecko Moria dared not hesitate anymore, and directly threw the shadow of Asides into the body of the extremely huge zombie behind him with a pair of horns on his head. After the shadow merged into the body of Super Zombie Oz, the body of Super Zombie Oz began to tremble violently. The Super Zombie Oz, who had originally had no gods in his eyes and looked like a fool, suddenly his eyes burst into light and his face was radiant. Roar. Super Zombie Oz let out a sharp roar, shaking the earth. The entire terrifying three-masted sailboat trembled violently. What sound? Ulquiorra, Galio, Doflamingo, and Luo, who had already eliminated Ryoma and other zombie generals, were surprised when they heard this voice. Just this earth-shattering roar made them clearly realize that the monster that made this roar must be difficult to deal with. At least, it must be more difficult to deal with than Abu Sarum and the zombie general. The captain and Asides are 2 chicken thieves, leaving us behind, turned out to be looking for a stronger enemy. Han Galio couldn't help but mutter. Backquote him. Ulquiorra agreed. Doflamingo and Luo Wenyan were speechless. Please, are you all so combative? Even if they become pirates, they will be able to avoid fighting with strong enemies as much as possible. It is better for you to fight against them one by one. Could it be that this is the fine tradition of the Black Crow pirates? Castle, basement. After being harvested from the shadow, Asides became very pale, as if he had become a zombie. But even if he turned into a zombie, Asides' face was full of all over the world, and it still couldn't be concealed. Even Gecko Moria, who has little interest in women, and Perona, who is a woman, were shocked to see Asides at this time. This can be regarded as the most beautiful zombie in the world, it is not too much. My shadow. Was harvested. In fact, when Oz made that earth-shattering roar, good Asides had gradually recovered from his negative state. After regaining his consciousness, Asides obviously felt a sense of loss. Obviously, there is only a shadow missing, and there is nothing missing in himself, not even a single hair, but there is a feeling of emptiness in my heart. This feeling is very weird. Ace Daisy suddenly realized that maybe, this is the reason for her constant anxiety. Cut, it looks like this is a big game. Asides said silently in his heart. Having said that, with the strength of Asides, the negative ghost of Perona was hit for the first time because it was not clear about Perona's ability, which made sense. But the second time, the third time, plus this time, it was already the 4th time to have a negative ghost, which is a bit unreasonable. In fact, this is because Asides and Ye Chen have a close mind. Chapter 187. Ye Chen wanted to know whether Perona's negative ghost would help improve the mental power and strength of the members of the Black Crow pirate group. Ace Daisy and Ye Chen are in the same mind, so naturally they want to prove it by using themselves as an experiment. Therefore, Aceeds has nothing to guard against Perona's negative ghost. Even the last time, it can be said that she was deliberately recruited, it is not too much. As for why Aceeds did this, to put it bluntly, she is now willing to do anything for Ye Chen. Is this love? Ahem, of course it's not that simple. In fact, whether it is Ulquiorra or Galio, as long as Ye Chen summoned from another world, they are loyal to Ye Chen. If Ulquiorra and Galio were also connected with Ye Chen, they wouldn't mind using themselves as an experiment to help Ye Chen do any tests. This is the reward of the system, the power of the system. But what Ace de Swan did not expect was that Gecko Moria would take advantage of her depression and reap her shadow. Turn her into a shadowless zombie. Ace Day immediately understood where so many zombies on the terrifying three-masted sailing ship came from. It turned out that they were all turned into by those who had been harvested by Gecko Moria. However, realizing that he just lost the shadow and turned into a zombie, and his strength seemed to be unaffected at all, Aceeds was also relieved. As long as the strength is still there, is it not easy to deal with a Gecko Moria? Give me back my shadow, I can let you die faster. Ace Daisy said coldly. This icy voice is chilling. Gecko Moria was also dumbfounded when he heard this. How could this peerless beauty be colder and cruel than him, a vicious pirate? In this case, shouldn't threatening others be, I can spare your life, or something, you turned out to be, I can make you die faster. If you die anyway, then who will return your shadow? Hey. However, Gecko Moria didn't want to think about who the person in front of him was. She is Aceeds, the Queen of Ice. This is exactly the way Aceeds speaks. How could it be possible to forgive someone who had offended her? Hiki, of course, except for Ye Chen. Perona on the side was so scared that she almost cried when she heard the words, tears rolling in her eyes. Sister Aceeds is too fierce, how can this be done? She won't be killed by her too, will she? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oh, no, but when I thought, Gecko Moria had just harvested her shadow, and she went to use the negative ghost to make her depressed several times. Perona felt that Aceeds would definitely not let her go. She is dead. Huh, become a zombie, can you still be so rude to me, Lord Gecko Moria? Gecko Moria was still a bit strong, and soon recovered from the panic, coldly snorted. Oz, destroy the basement lighting switch. Gecko Moria ordered. He had been prepared for this. He always wanted to harvest the shadow of a strong man to awaken the super zombie Oz. But what if the strong man is too powerful and becomes angry after being harvested by the shadow, and wants to kill himself? Gecko Moria had thought of this a long time ago. Oh. Oz, the super zombie, is obedient to Gecko Moria's words. Hearing that, super zombie Oz waved his hand. Bang. With a loud noise, the entire castle was destroyed in half. Gecko Moria was dumbfounded. Maybe, he shouldn't use the word, destroy, and replace it with, turn on, the basement lighting switch. Would it be better? He didn't expect that super zombie Oz would be so powerful after fusing the shadow of Aceeds. Even the castle with copper walls and iron walls was smashed in half by his casual punch. This is too powerful. Of course, for Gecko Moria, super zombie Oz is naturally the stronger the better. Although the shadow belongs to Aceeds, as long as it is a shadow harvested by him, he will obey his orders. In other words, the super zombie Oz will never defy his orders. It's great, this is great. Gecko Moria is ecstatic in his heart. With such a powerful super zombie Oz, he really doesn't need to do anything and can dominate the new world. Hehehehe. See Emperors of New World, wait for Lousy, Master Lousy Gecko Moria is back. The castle was half destroyed by Oz's punch, but fortunately, the lighting switch was turned on. An artificial light was projected from the top of the castle. It turned out that the top of the castle was built to look like a onion, which was useful. A ring of light directly enveloped Aceeds. Seeing that Aceeds was imprisoned by artificial sunlight, Gecko Moria had nothing to worry about. Hehehehe, just stay here for me. My Lord Gecko Moria, I'm going to take Oz to conquer the new world. Gecko Moria's ambitions are extremely inflated. Yes, Ace Des is stronger than Luffy. At the beginning, Gecko Moria used Luffy's shadow to make Oz so powerful. How powerful is Oz now? Unimaginable. Obtaining such a powerful super zombie Oz, Gecko Moria's ambitions should be slightly expanded, and it should be. She is no longer a threat to us, Perona, let's go and fight Ye Chen together. With Oz, coupled with your incomprehensible negative ghost, the Admiral Terminator, Ye Chen, the strongest in the world, must also give me Lord Gecko Moria, lie down. Hehehehe. With that said, Gecko Moria really dropped Aceeds, jumped onto Oz's huge palm, and ordered Oz to leave the basement. Huh, want to go? Is it possible? Hearing that Gecko Moria was going to trouble Ye Chen, Aceeds naturally couldn't bear it. Just when she was about to rush through the circle of artificial sunlight that enveloped her to chase Gecko Moria, she was stopped by Perona. I advise you not to do this. You don't have a shadow now, and you are already a zombie. If the zombie is directly exposed to sunlight, it will disappear immediately and cease to exist. Perona warned with a good word. She felt bitter. Originally, Ye Chen wanted to recruit her into the Black Crow Pirates, and she had 10,000 willingness in her heart. Chapter 188. But Perona didn't understand why she had offended Acedes and made her treat herself so indifferently. But even so, she still didn't want to offend Acedes. Because she thinks that with the idiot Gecko Moria, even if he obtains such a powerful super zombie Oz, it is estimated that he will not be Ye Chen's opponent. What are you talking about? You don't want to lie to me. For Perona's words, Acedes naturally didn't want to believe it. But she remained wary. Instead of rushing through the aperture recklessly, she tried it with her nails. When the nails were exposed to sunlight, they immediately turned into a wisp of blue smoke, which was corroded away, and Acedes believed Perona's words. It turns out that the legend is true, and zombies can't really touch the sun. Damn it. You, turn off the artificial lights for me, I can let. Acedes spoke to Perona in a commanding tone. Hurry up for me to die. Perona flipped Byakugan. After hesitating for a long time, Acedes just relaxed. Well, I can spare you not to die. Then I have to thank you first. Perona didn't even have the strength to complain. What else can she do? Acedes is so powerful, if it weren't for becoming a zombie and being imprisoned by the sun, she would move her fingers if she wanted her life. However, don't hope too much. The castle was half destroyed by Oz, and I can't guarantee that I can find a switch to turn off the lighting system. But even if Ace Day was unkind, Perona decided to help her. Now, Gecko Moria has swollen enough to do it on Ye Chen. Now she is nothing more than choosing a side station. Either continue to stand on Gecko Moria's side, or stand on Ye Chen's side. Do you still have to think about it? Of course, I chose to stand on Ye Chen's side. Although Perona is a cadre of the horrible three-masted pirate group and one of the three weirdos, she is much more clever than Gecko Moria's group of idiots. She still knows who is stronger. Super Zombie Oz, no matter how powerful, it is nothing more than the shadow of Acedes. And Ace Daisy said that it sounds nice, it is Ye Chen's companion, if it is awkward, it is just one of his subordinates. Even if Oz merged with the shadow of Acedes, Perona still didn't like it. It's just that Perona doesn't know one thing. Acedes has Ye Chen's life card and shares everything with Ye Chen. In theory, her strength is the same as Ye Chen. Ye Chen, I know you are in the castle, so let Lousy come out quickly. Lousy will beat you down today. Along the way, Gecko Moria clamored. Of course, he was also yelling loudly. As for himself, he had long been hiding in the middle of Oz's belly, in a space transformed into a control room. With Super Zombie Oz as cover and thug, he naturally dared to clamor like this. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. You ask him to face Ye Chen directly. I guess he's already scared to pee. Ouch, Gecko Moria, I always thought you were a coward, but now it seems that I misunderstood you a little bit. Ye Chen's voice suddenly sounded. When the castle was destroyed by Oz's punch and caused a huge movement, Ye Chen looked for the movement and rushed over. By coincidence, I heard Gecko Moria's clamor. In this regard, Ye Chen is a little strange. It stands to reason that Acedes should have already met Gecko Moria, she didn't even solve Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria, who was in Oz's belly, was mentally prepared tomorrow morning, but when he heard Ye Chen's voice suddenly, he was still shocked. He even felt a bit soft in his legs. Is this Ye Chen? Just one sentence makes people fearful. Of course, Gecko Moria would not admit that it was because of his own timidity. You, Ye Chen, you today. Lousy will defeat you today. Gecko Moria emboldened herself. As long as I defeat you and harvest your shadow, I, Gecko Moria, will be famous in the world. At that time, I, Gecko Moria, will be the overlord of the sea above the emperor of the sea. I see, when the time comes, which sea emperor will dare to refuse. Kaido, scum. Gecko Moria expanded more and more. Yes, if he defeated Ye Chen, the captain of the famous Black Crow Pirates, wouldn't he be famous overnight? When the time comes, any pirate group will be shuddering when they hear the horrible three-masted sailing pirate group. Zero find flowers zero. Think about it, Gecko Moria feels excited. Isn't it, this is why. Ye Chen was happy. This Gecko Moria, don't you know how many caddies you are? As 7 warlords of the sea, even Doflamingo can hang him. Who on earth gave him such an inflated confidence? Could it be? Ye Chen's gaze fell on the super zombie Oz. This big man, 67 meters tall, is almost taller than the castle. Ye Chen actually felt a familiar feeling on him. It seems that you have realized the power of super zombie Oz. Hehehehe, Ye Chen, let it die. 0. Seeing Ye Chen's gaze fell on the super zombie Oz, Gecko Moria was not polite, and directly ordered Oz to act on Ye Chen. He is still full of horror towards Ye Chen, so he now wants to prove that his super zombie Oz is no worse than Ye Chen. Roar. Oz let out a roar and blasted his fist towards Ye Chen. That's it. Although he felt the power of Oz, Ye Chen obviously didn't pay attention to it. Seeing Oz's huge fist whizzing, Ye Chen did not evade, but faced each other with his fists. Outside the castle, Ulquiorra and the other 4 people, at some point, have already arrived outside the castle. When they saw the super zombie Oz, which was bigger than the giants, their eyes were attracted to them, and they couldn't help but listen to their steps. No, what a big zombie. Seeing this, Han Galio couldn't help but screamed. Doflamingo and Luo Wenyan were speechless. Please, after you become huge, isn't it 10 or 100 times bigger than it? Captain, are you fighting this big guy? Ulquiorra also murmured. When they arrived, they happened to see each other. Oz and Ye Chen raised their fists to each other. Oz's fist is so huge. In contrast, Ye Chen's fist is even smaller. It's almost like a human fist colliding with a soybean. Force. Chapter 189. However, it is precisely because the size difference between the two fists is so ridiculous that when they collide with each other, that scene will make people so shocking. Boom. Two fists, one big and one small, collide with each other. The huge impact spread like a wave. A violent hurricane formed. Wherever it went, trees were uprooted and buildings were directly destroyed. Even Galio, because of the huge impact, couldn't take a few steps back. As for Doflamingo and Luo, not to mention, they can only endure the violent impact and quickly find a place to shelter them. Only Ulquiorra remained indifferent in the face of such a powerful impact. He just folded his hands on his chest, his face solemn. The gap between fist and fist is obviously so huge. But after the two fists collided with each other, they were deadlocked. Three fists, evenly matched. This is, hey, interesting. Ye Chen obviously thought of something after his initial consternation. Therefore, not only was he not shocked by the fact that Super Zombie Oz was actually as powerful as his own. On the contrary, he even found it interesting. On the contrary, the four Ulquiorra were shocked to see this scene. No, it's impossible, isn't it? This big zombie is even on a par with our master captain. Something must be wrong, or is our captain not doing his best? The four Ulquiorra expressed disbelief. They don't know how powerful their captain Ye Chen is. They only knew that if their captain punched with all his strength, they would not be able to catch it. But by the way, this big zombie actually caught it. Could it be said that this big zombie actually possesses the strength equivalent to their captain? It must be the master captain who didn't use all his strength. Yes, it must be like this. Doflamingo murmured. Rather than believing that Super Zombie Oz and Ye Chen are equal in strength, he is more willing to believe that Ye Chen did not exert all his strength. No way. Among the four people present, Doflamingo knew Gecko Moria best. If Gecko Moria has a powerful zombie like Oz, then he will no longer be the weakest member of 7 warlords of the sea, and he can even sling other Shichibukai directly. What Doflamingo didn't understand was that Gecko Moria got the shadow of who made Oz so powerful. In this regard, Ye Chen seemed to know what Doflamingo was thinking, and murmured, "It seems that you really harvested the shadow of a seeds and incorporated it into the super zombie Oz." What? The four Ulquiorra were even more shocked when they heard this. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No wonder. This big zombie, so powerful, turns out to be in the shadow of Sister Seeds. Han Galio couldn't help but yell. As for Ulquiorra, he is already gearing up, even eager to try. If Ye Chen allows, he really wants to challenge him. How powerful is the super zombie Oz created by a seed's shadow, and whether he can beat his second stage of homecoming. Hearing this, Gecko Moria laughed triumphantly. He, although I don't know how you know the name of super zombie Oz, you were right. Neither did I expect that a seeds, the Ice Queen, is so powerful. But it's better. The stronger the owner of the shadow, the stronger the super zombie Oz I will create after harvesting. Even if it is you, Ye Chen, it is not necessarily the opponent of the super zombie Oz who has integrated into the shadow of the Ice Queen. Hey. Gecko Moria said, couldn't help laughing smugly. Super zombie Oz and Ye Chen are evenly matched, which makes his confidence swell even more. Although it is impossible to win Ye Chen in this way, Gecko Moria believes that as long as he and Oz join hands to win Ye Chen, it will not be easy. It can only be said that Gecko Moria is not very strong, but he is fascinated by his own strength. Is it? Ye Chen heard this, but he didn't comment on this. Indeed, a seeds, who has his life card, is theoretically the same as him. But that is only in theory. In fact, there are many things involved. For example, weapons. Ye Chen has the strongest Zanpakuto Ryūjin Jakka. With a knife in his hand, his strength can be said to completely crush a seeds. Even if a seeds has the Ice Emperor tool, it is the same. After all, without Ryūjin Jakka, even if a seeds could resist such powerful moves as fire, heat, hell, and burn, she would not be able to display zero. And so, Ye Chen smiled coldly. In the stalemate, suddenly, a strong Reiatsu erupted. Reiatsu was strengthened by Ryūjin Jakka on his waist and turned into a raging flame. Boom. Ye Chen's fist turned into a fire fist. The scene of the original stalemate was instantly broken. Wow. Oz, the super zombie, let out a painful scream and backtracked again and again. A lot of buildings were destroyed when it went backwards. And Oz's fist was also hit hard by the sudden burst of flames. The whole fist was flying in flesh and blood, and it was distorted, and even several fingers were broken. Roar. Oz was very angry about this. It estimated that it also wanted to use Fire Fist to deal with Ye Chen. Unfortunately, without the blessing of Ryūjin Jakka, even if he wanted to do it, he couldn't do it at all. Calm down. Oz, calm down. Gecko Moria quickly appeased Oz. Do you think that if you do a little bit of tricks, do you win? He, you underestimate Super Zombie Oz. Gecko Moria suddenly said to Ye Chen. You must have thought that you are on par with Oz, and you must win or lose 50-50. But you are wrong. Look at Oz's fist again. While Gecko Moria was talking, Oz, who was bathing in the moonlight, suddenly radiated a faint light. His bloody, distorted fist was actually recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Oz was absorbing the energy of the moonlight and quickly recovered from his injury. He, now you should understand the horror of Super Zombie Oz. You two may be of equal strength, but Oz, whether in terms of size, healing power, or even the lack of pain and feelings, both occupy a huge advantage. And you, in Oz's eyes, are nothing more than a fragile little human being. If you don't have a strong healing power, you will suffer pain, and you will be fettered by feelings. What are you going to win against Oz? Hey. Gecko Moria got more and more proud as he spoke. Chapter 190. Obviously, Ye Chen had the upper hand in the fight just now. But Gecko Moria acted as if he had already won. Ye Chen shouldn't say that he is overconfident or stupid. Or maybe it's both. Oh, is it so? Ye Chen still said what he said just now. Is it right? Try it. Hey. Gecko Moria was not angry either, just let out a weird laugh. Oz, kill him. Gecko Moria gave an order, and Oz, who had fully recovered from his injuries, let out a roar and blasted at Ye Chen again with a punch. The huge fist, wherever it passes, everything is frozen, and then shattered again. Even Ulquiorra and others were shocked when they saw this scene. This punch is simply not too strong. Obviously, this is Ace Desi's move Divine Cracking Ice Fist. Perhaps, Super Zombie Oz doesn't know what moves he is performing, but it incorporates the shadow of a seeds after all. The moves that a seeds knows, the shadow naturally also knows. Seeing that Oz's punch is so powerful, Moonlight Moria became more and more proud after his initial shock. Hey, I didn't expect that the strength of the Ice Queen is so powerful, even as powerful as your Ye Chen. Gecko Moria is amazing. Hey, yes, the shadow of the Ice Queen has secretly told me that the two of you actually share strength. In this way, the strength of the Ice Queen is the same as yours, and her shadow strength is the same as yours. But Oz has a stronger physique, that is to say, in this battle, you will undoubtedly lose. Gecko Moria became more proud as he spoke. Ulquiorra and others heard this and thought about it carefully, isn't it? Ye Chen and a seeds share strength, and the shadow of a seeds has the strength of a seeds. In this way, their captain is not equivalent to fighting another himself. Moreover, this self is still a self with a stronger physique. If you think so, you are very wrong. Ye Chen's cold voice sounded again. Obviously, he did not agree with Gecko Moria's words. Just let you see my strength. Ye Chen said, pulling out Ryūjin Jakka from his waist. Surroundings, everything is ashes, Ryūjin Jakka. Ye Chen directly liberated Ryūjin Jakka. 10 pillars of fire spouted from the ground and rose into the sky. No, go back. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Upon seeing this, Ulquiorra quickly said to Galio, Doflamingo and Luo. Then, the four of them didn't care about so much, and quickly retreated. At the same time, Oz's huge fist, like a hill, had already crushed it. Everything was frozen wherever it went. Flame, ice. Two people evenly matched. The confrontation between ice and fire. This scene is simply not too shocking. Hey. Ye Chen, you can't win. Gecko Moria laughed. He felt that no matter what Ye Chen, it is impossible to win the strength equivalent to his own mirror image, but the more powerful Oz. In this battle, Ye Chen will undoubtedly lose. However, before he finished speaking, the smile on his face froze. Hell from the heat. Following Ye Chen's roar, Ryūjin Jakka, who was already covered with flames in his hand, slashed towards Oz with a single blow. At the same time, the 10 pillars of fire suddenly gathered together. Boom. Dao Qi was the first to slash Oz's fist, directing its fist to the fan. Immediately afterwards, 10 fire pillars soaring into the sky hit Oz at the same time. Roar. Oz let out the last roar. Its body, which is bigger than a mountain, was directly rushed into the sky by the pillar of fire. Boom. Rumble. Sword energy and flames erupted at the same time. The intense heat burned everything on the terrifying three-masted sailing ship. The ice melted instantly, and the castle frozen by the ice shattered every inch and collapsed. In just an instant, the huge castle was completely shattered, collapsed, turned into ruins, and ceased to exist. Oz, who was rushed into the sky by the pillar of fire, began to undergo drastic changes in his body under the raging flames and boundless sword energy. Soon, the pillar of fire disappeared, and Oz's huge charred body fell from the air. It seemed intact, but when the corpse fell to the ground, something terrible happened. Bang! With a loud noise, Oz's body fell apart, turned into countless pieces. The gap of each piece is so smooth. In other words, in just an instant, Oz's body had actually been raging with the sword energy, and it was cut into tens of thousands of pieces. The basement of the castle. Because the entire castle collapsed and turned into ruins, all lighting systems naturally collapsed. Seeds, who was trapped in the basement, was free as a result. Relying on her flexible posture, she just escaped before the castle collapsed. Even halfway through, there was still time to save Perona, who was looking for the light switch, but was overwhelmed by the sudden collapse of the castle and thought she was dead. When she brought Perona back to the ground smoothly, she happened to see this shocking scene before her eyes. Seeing this scene, the expression on Aceed's face can be imagined. She knows better than anyone that after she shared Ye Chen's strength, the two strengths were indeed exactly the same in theory. But, who can think of the gap between theory and reality? Just like the scene before him, she was clearly integrated into her shadow, and the super zombie Oz, who had exactly the same strength as her, could not resist Ye Chen's blow. This made Aceed, who had always thought that after sharing his strength, he was as powerful as Ye Chen, fell into deep contemplation. She was confused for a while. If she and Ye Chen really fight, how big is the gap between the two? Like Oz, will Ye Chen be cut in seconds? Probably not. After all, Oz only possessed the strength of Aceed, but did not possess the Ice Emperor's equipment bound to her. If it is to use the two hidden abilities of the King of Ice, Moke Bentmore, and Iceland Admiral Army, she can at least fight Ye Chen for dozens of rounds. Of course, this is just Aceed's guess. Who knows whether this is the case? Chapter 191. No, it's impossible. I don't know if it was luck to escape, or Ye Chen didn't kill him. Gecko Moria, who was hiding in Oz's stomach, escaped. Unlike Aceed, he was really stunned by the scene before him. The raging sword aura, the boundless violent power, the fire column whose temperature is terrifyingly high. Among them, as long as there is any mistake, it is impossible for him to survive. What's more, what broke him most was that he had placed such high expectations, and even felt that the super zombie Oz, who was sure to win, was not Ye Chen's opponent at all. It's only a second to being cut by Ye Chen. No one can accept all this. You and Oz are on the same level. Why can you beat Oz in a single second? Why? Gecko Moria was puzzled and said tremblingly. Why? Because of the potential between people, it is impossible to generalize. Oz has my strength, but it also has to have my potential. His potential is less than 1,000th of mine. How can he beat me? Ye Chen said lightly. Of course, he would not tell Gecko Moria that the strong potential is only one aspect. Another aspect is that it is a powerful weapon. The power of Ryūjin Jakka is far beyond Gecko Moria's imagination. Given his limitations, it is estimated that this knife is at most the same as Whitebeard's Kong Yunchi, an indestructible and supreme sharp knife. How could he understand that Ryūjin Jakka is the strongest Zanpakuto with incredible power? Given the limitations of Gecko Moria, it is difficult for him to understand what kind of knife is above the supreme sharp knife. If there is no Ryūjin Jakka, Ye Chen's strength is 1, then when he uses Ryūjin Jakka to cast Shikai, his strength doubles and doubles again. Oz possesses the strength of Aceed, which is equivalent to owning Ye Chen's own strength, but it has neither Ye Chen's Ryūjin Jakka nor Aceed's Ice Imperial equipment. Let alone Ryūjin Jakka's Heat Hell, even the two hidden abilities of the Ice Emperor, Moke Bentmo, and Iceland Admiral Army, he could not use. In this way, what did he use to fight Ye Chen? Take the head. It's like playing a mirror copy of yourself in the game. You are also quite capable of your mirror image, indeed, that's right. But, does your mirror have your operating skills? No. Not to mention, when you challenge your own mirror copy, there are various additional buffs added, which are not available in mirrors. Therefore, in the game, you challenge your own mirror image, it will be so simple. In the same way, Ye Chen does not use Ryūjin Jakka, and he can only draw a tie with Super Zombie Oz on his own strength. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. But once Ryūjin Jakka is in hand, what kind of Super Zombie Oz is just a one-shot thing? Potential. Gecko Moria was shocked. He really did not consider this aspect. He just thought that Oz had a stronger physique than Ye Chen, and after possessing Ye Chen's strength, he must be stronger than him. Unexpectedly, the potential is the most important. Now, do you still think you can still beat me? Ye Chen looked at Gecko Moria in a certain corpse and said sarcastically. Seeing Ye Chen walking towards him step by step, Gecko Moria was scared to pee. Not. This is a misunderstanding. No. Don't kill me, I am willing to become a member of the Black Crow pirate ship, and give my life's hard work to the terrifying three-masted sailboat. Seeing the bad situation, Gecko Moria naturally changed the wind and began to beg for mercy. Perona saw that Gecko Moria was so unkind, and felt that joining the horrible three-masted pirate group was a shame for her life. Ye Chen heard this, but gave Gecko Moria a desperate answer. You are not enough to join the Black Crow pirates. Having said that, Gecko Moria is actually more qualified to join the Black Crow pirates in terms of strength and ability than Perona. But blame him for being an ugly guy. If he is like Perona, a lowly, half as cute as hers, Ye Chen might think about it. No way, it's a sin to be too ugly. This world has always been like this. Gecko Moria was also stunned when he heard the words. He never expected that one of his own dignified 7 warlords of the sea, the captain of the horrible three-masted pirate group, would not even have the qualifications to join the Black Crow pirate group. Not enough. In order to save his life, he still endures the humiliation of being humiliated and said again, then, what do you want? What do you want unreasonably? as long as I have what I can give, I can promise you. Ye Chen shook his head slightly and said, I just want your life. Hiss. Gecko Moria couldn't help taking a breath after hearing the words. To be able to say such things to him so plainly, in this world, I am afraid that he is not the only one, Ye Chen. However, because of such a shame, he did not dare to resist because of fear. Lord Ye Chen, forgive me, as long as you are willing to circumvent me, I, Gecko Moria, will be a bull and a horse for you. Because of being too scared, Gecko Moria kept begging for mercy. The arrogance at the beginning has long since disappeared. Now he is completely a jumping clown. Go to hell. Ye Chen didn't want to talk nonsense with this kind of beam-jumping clown. He raised Ryūjin Jakka and slashed it towards Gecko Moria. You, damn it, Ye Chen, don't deceive people too much. I, Gecko Moria, don't play, good, do you really treat me as Gecko Moria so bully? Gecko Moria was so anxious about the so-called dog jumping over the wall, and even dared to fight back. The Shadow Revolution. Shadow Horn Gun. Gecko Moria roared, spreading his shadow and blending into the rocks of Oz that had shattered all over the floor. Suddenly, those corpses moved unexpectedly, and they were arranged and combined again. Because the effect of the Shadow Revolution is very incredible. As long as the shadow changes, the entities connected to the shadow will also change accordingly. Therefore, there is no need to even deliberately combine the corpses. Soon, a suture monster that looks very similar to Oz was born. It's just that this monster is not so much Oz, it is more of a shadow monster that has been dark. The shadow monster turned into a spear, and then stabbed at Ye Chen. Chapter 192. Shadow Horn Gun. If Ye Chen remembers correctly, this should be Gecko Moria's most powerful attacking move. In the original book, he used this move to penetrate the air of Oz, who was even bigger than the giant with one shot. Facing the huge shadow horn spear, Ye Chen sneered at himself, but instead, he rushed directly towards the shadow horn spear. 8 inner gates, 8 gates are on. Lianhua. Ye Chen reversed gorgeously in the air, and then kicked at the shadow gun which was 10 times bigger than his entire body. He is an idiot. This was Gecko Moria's first reaction. His shadow horn gun, although it is a shadow, is not weaker than the hardest metal in the world. Just kick it with your foot, I'm afraid it's not that you don't want this foot. Doflamingo and Luo, who were watching, also squeezed a cold sweat for Ye Chen. This kind of ability condensed into a gun, they would never dare to hardwire it. If you dare to make such a mess, I am afraid that Ye Chen is not the only one in the world. However, Ye Chen is not messing around. Just when his right foot was in contact with the shadow gun, a touch of darkness climbed onto his foot. This is no longer ordinary armament Haki, this is advanced armament Haki. Boom. The shadow gun was directly kicked to pieces by Ye Chen. Just like fragile porcelain, vulnerable. Do not. Gecko Moria couldn't believe that his most powerful shadow move was so vulnerable. Is this the huge gap in strength between him and Ye Chen? He is not reconciled. Shadow gathering place. At this point, Luminous Moria has no way of retreating. He performed the final move. Although this trick has a great flaw, that is, if it absorbs too many shadows and is too strong, he will be unable to control it and fall into a state of madness. But in order to deal with Ye Chen, he didn't care too much. Rustle. Countless black shadows rose into the air. Shadows broke away from the bodies of zombies, boat hulls, toys, and even buildings, and then flew quickly in a certain direction. For a while, all the shadows collected by Gecko Moria flooded towards him from all sides of the terrifying bark. Then, blended into his shadow. These shadows include the shadows of zombies such as Absalom, the shadows of strong men such as the swordsman Ryoma, and even the shadows of Acedes, who has just looted. All shadows merged into Gecko Moria's shadow. The shadow of Gecko Moria is swelling. Because of the effect of the Shadow Revolution, his whole person is also swelling. In the beginning, it was only the size of a small house, then it was the size of a ship, and then it was the size of a castle. In the end, it was much larger than the castle. It is even larger than the body of the terrifying 3-masted sailing ship, excluding the parts of other ships that were looted. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. If not, the shadow is basically weightless. I am afraid that it is not. The entire terrifying 3-masted sailboat will be directly crushed by the inflated Gecko Moria. At this moment, the size of Gecko Moria is already bigger than Super Zombie Oz. However, Gecko Moria's eyes began to turn red because of this. He had already begun to fall into a runaway state because he had absorbed too much shadow. Not to mention other shadows, just a shadow of Acedes, it is estimated that he can't control it. What's more, there are so many other shadows. With Gecko Moria's patience, he can control a genius, so it is inevitable to fall into a runaway. Struggling to death. In this regard, Ye Chen did not pay attention to it at all, but was a little disdainful. The weakest 7 warlords of the sea, no matter how hard you struggle, what use is it? Gecko Moria, who still kept the last touch of sanity, became even more popular when he heard the words. Ye Chen of damn it, you forced me all this. Even if you die, I will take you to the funeral. Go to hell. Destroy the world and destroy the earth and Shadow Horn Spear. Gecko Moria roared frantically, a part of his huge body turned into a huge shadow gun and stabbed Ye Chen. Rumble. The horror bark was shattering and disintegrating. This scene cannot be described as the end of the world too much. However, in the eyes of Ye Chen, there is still only disdain. Humph. Alright, let you be convinced. With a cold snort, Ye Chen slammed at Gecko Moria, who was starting to lose control. Shenxiang. Setsuna, whose fists and shadow horns were disarmed, was also covered by a layer of advanced armed color. In this world, there are definitely not many people who can send and receive Conqueror's Haki freely, and Ye Chen is one of them. Then, a scene of horror appeared again. A super huge elephant foot fell from the sky. This elephant foot is also covered with a layer of advanced armament Haki. Gecko Moria, who used the shadow gathering ground, was already huge enough, but compared to elephant feet, he still looked so small. Next Setsuna. Bang. Boom. Gecko Moria is like an ant stepped on by a human. Do not. Gecko Moria let out a final scream of despair. Is this Ye Chen, who is hailed as the strongest man in the world? Black Crow Ye Chen. Too strong. Gecko Moria only felt hopeless. No matter how hard you struggle, it's useless. I guess few people can experience this kind of despair. Elephant feet trampled heavily on Gecko Moria's huge body. Gecko Moria was like a balloon, crushed, countless shadows sprayed out of his mouth. These are all the shadows of his hard work for more than 10 years. No, no, no. There is only despair in Gecko Moria's heart. He has completely lost the courage to fight Ye Chen. He just wants to save his life. Wow. Gecko Moria disintegrated suddenly. He turned into countless bats and fled in all directions. He actually wanted to escape from the elephant foot by this method. Even the elephant foot can't catch all the shadow bats in one go, right? This is Gecko Moria's last hope. However, the idea is good, but the reality is cruel. Want to run? Ye Chen let out a cold snort, and then uttered the word that made everyone who heard it fall into a deep nightmare. Burn. Ye Chen didn't see any movement. Tens of thousands of shadow bats fleeing all around suddenly burst into flames. What? Hey! The shadow bat screamed in the air. The shadow was burning, and there was a rain of fire in the sky. Chapter 193. Sad screams, shadows, fire rain, elephant feet falling from the sky. In this scene, even strong men like Ulquiorra and Asides can't help but feel the scalp tingling in the eyes. The shadow that was burned to death in an instant extinguished the last faint hope in Gecko Moria's heart. He has deeply realized that he is afraid that he is not dead. Rumble. The whole terrifying bark was trembling. The elephant foot that fell from the sky is enough to destroy everything. But at the most critical juncture. Come. With Ye Chen's order, such a huge elephant foot disappeared out of thin air. If it weren't for Ye Chen to take back the power of the Shixiang, in time, the entire terrifying three-masted sailboat would not be under this foot, directly destroyed. Is one kick enough to destroy the world's largest pirate ship? If you didn't see this with your own eyes, let's say it, I'm afraid that few people will believe it. But Ye Chen is so tough. When the dust settles, the smoke disappears. What castles, towns, and forests no longer exist? All that was left was a huge elephant foot footprint. Even the entire body of the terrifying three-masted sailboat was almost destroyed. And at the center of the footprint, lying there is bloody flesh, like a puddle of mud Gecko Moria. Because Ye Chen put away his strength at the last moment, he didn't die directly, and he still had the last breath. Hi. Seeing this scene, Ulquiorra and others couldn't help taking a breath. They were fortunate. Fortunately, they escaped fast, otherwise they were afraid that they would also be affected and end up just like Gecko Moria. Of course, the most shocking is Perona. She would join the horror three-masted sailing pirate group because she felt that Gecko Moria was still capable, but she never expected that Gecko Moria would be vulnerable to Ye Chen's hands. Ye Chen is the captain she is worth following. In addition, with her strength, to be honest, if Asides hadn't taken her along when she retreated just now, she would have never escaped from being trampled by elephant feet. How long has it been since Asides has rescued her twice? Sister Asides. Perona looked into Asides' eyes, tears in her eyes. You fought hard to help me remove the lighting system and almost died in the castle. We are tied. In the end, she couldn't stand Perona's blazing gaze, and Asides could only reply faintly. Still so cold, still so handsome. However, everything is not over yet. Gecko Moria didn't die completely. Ye Chen naturally couldn't just spare him so easily. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ye Chen walked towards Gecko Moria step by step. Gecko Moria saw in his eyes, there was nothing but despair in his heart. Ye Chen at this moment, in his eyes, is simply a Shinigami, who was sent by the king to take his life. A minute ago. Devil's Triangle Sea area. On the foggy sea, there was nothing in the first second. But the next second, in the fog, countless dark shadows suddenly appeared. All are the shadows of ships. If you count them carefully, there are at least 40 or 50 ships. This is the incredible scene in the Devil's Triangle. Under the cover of thick fog, no one knows how many dangers are hidden in the fog. Dear Master Five Elders, we have arrived at the site of Gecko Moria, the terrifying bark. A member of the CP organization in uniform reported to Five Elders respectfully. Very good. Hurry up and inform Auntie and Kaido, so that they are ready at any time. Broadsword 5 elders ordered. Yes. The members of the CP organization led their orders and retired. Great. Both the ant and Kaido who received the news uttered surprise calls. They have waited for this moment for too long. Ye Chen, wait to die. Just as the ant, Kaido, and 5 elders were thinking this way, suddenly, in the sky, a huge elephant foot broke through the rain and fog, and fell from the sky. The extremely huge elephant feet directly covered the entire terrifying three-masted sailing ship, and it was trampled on like this. Boom. The waves rolled and roared endlessly. 40 or 50 ships were bumping in the sea. Some of the smaller ships of the ant pirates and beasts pirates even disintegrated directly under the turbulent waves because they couldn't bear the anger of the sea. Zero find flowers zero. At this time, the superiority of warships is reflected. Even under such a huge wave, 20 steel-made warships are still as stable as Mount Tai, fearless. Seeing the elephant feet falling from the sky, everyone has a tingling scalp. Only then did people realize that they were deceived by the thick fog. They have always felt that the journey has been calm. Actually otherwise, fierce fighting has broken out in the terrifying three-masted sailing vessel. However, under the cover of the fog, they didn't even hear a movement. No wonder, this place is hailed as the Devil's Triangle. Demons always like to deceive people. At the beginning, 5 elders, Auntie and Kaido, who vowed to give Ye Chen a bit of color, were a little shaken at this time, and even began to regret it. But now it is too late to regret. They can only eat the weight and iron their hearts, and continue to march towards the terrifying three-masted sailing ship. Fortunately, the elephant foot disappeared within a second after being trampled on. They didn't trample the entire terrifying three-masted sailing ship directly with one foot, otherwise, they would not know what it was like to come to the Devil's Triangle so hard. It seems that Ye Chen and Gecko Moria and the gang are fighting fiercely. Upon seeing this, the blonde 5 elders couldn't help but speak. But, is Gecko Moria so capable? In this regard, Kaido expressed suspicion and disdain. 20 years ago, the guy who was annihilated by his own army and was left alone, with such a great ability to force Ye Chen to perform such a powerful move, he couldn't believe it. Who knows? Aunt Charlotte Linlin screamed. Of course, the two of them were not on the warship, but kept in touch with 5 elders through an advanced projection phone worm. It is difficult to say whether Gecko Moria has this ability. His strength is really not very good, but his fruiting ability is still very strong. Moreover, over the past 20 years, he has tried his best and endured humiliation, and has collected a large number of shadows of the strong. If he desperately displays the shadow gathering ground, it is impossible to guarantee that Ye Chen will not be driven to a desperate situation. 5 elders with curly hair holding the codex murmured. Force. Chapter 194. Curly hair 5 elders can be said to be the think tank in 5 elders, and I guessed what might happen. Okay. In this regard, 5 elders agreed. However, Ye Chen and Gecko Moria broke out in a fierce battle, which is a good thing for us. Every time Ye Chen's strength is weakened by 1 point, our odds of winning are 1 more point. Anyway, Ye Chen is dead today. The ant said viciously. Auntie, don't you rob me, Ye Chen's head must be taken by me. Kaido, the beast, clenched his fists, his veins exposed. He has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Recalling the humiliation of losing in the hands of Ye Chen and having to disappear into seclusion, and the humiliation of being mocked by the New World pirates. All this, he has to collect it personally. Well, 2, 3, 7, is Kaido still so passionate? You won't have a problem with Ye Chen's head. As long as the last blow, let me end Ye Chen. Aunt Charlotte Linlin laughed. When 5 elders heard the words, his face became darker. These 2 guys, at this time, who is still robbing Ye Chen to kill. Also, for sea emperors like Auntie and Kaido, isn't their most important thing is to establish prestige in the eyes of all the pirates. And killing Ye Chen, who has been given many honors, is not the best way to build prestige. The so-called, the strongest in the world, were all killed by Laozi. Who else dares to refuse? Laozi is the strongest. Because of this, the ant and Kaido have been fighting over who will take Ye Chen's life in the end. But they don't want to think about it either. They think too much now. Ye Chen's head, is it so easy to hold? What? Ye Chen, who was walking towards Gecko Moria, suddenly stopped and looked into the distance. Even with Ye Chen's observation Haki, under the thick and strange fog of the Terror Triangle, it still doesn't play a big role. So, until this moment, Ye Chen didn't realize anything. As for the other people, it is even more hindsight. When people followed Ye Chen's gaze and looked into the distance, they were shocked. Because of the fierce fighting, the outer wall of the Terror 3-masted sailing ship has been completely destroyed, and the tall buildings and forests have also been razed to the ground. Therefore, people can directly see the sea in the distance from the center. I saw that the originally empty sea suddenly appeared numerous ships out of thin air. And these ships, there are many large ships, the volume is only a little smaller than the Pluto. 40 or 50 ships, this lineup can attack the world government. You know, when Whitebeard attacked the former Marine headquarters, Malin Vander, there were only a dozen large ships. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Well, Ye Chen boy, don't be safe. The first to sound was the ant's arrogant voice. Ye Chen, today is your death date. Then, Kaido's voice sounded. Ye Chen, you are at fault, you should never mix up with the top war. The voice of 5 elders also sounded. You also took the Whitebeard pirate group that should have been destroyed as subordinates, you are inexcusable. The blonde 5 elders yelled even more. No. Perona paled with fright again. Aunt Charlotte Linlin, Kaido, 5 elders, what lineup is this? It's no wonder that Perona was so frightened, with such a top-matched lineup, falling in the eyes of that big pirate group, who didn't want to be scared to death. Of course, except for Ye Chen and his party. It seems that you can look down on me. In response, Ye Chen just sneered and responded lightly. In order to deal with me, did the 3 parties join forces? Unexpectedly. Ye Chen has always heard about it. He heard that the world government, the Ant Pirates and the Kaido Pirates are all about to move, as if they are going to join forces to deal with him. Unexpectedly, this rumor turned out to be true. Interesting. Galio, who had always felt that this big one was not enough, screamed when he saw it. It really shows his naive true qualities. Ulquiorra and Acedes, upon seeing this, were also eager to try. For the entire Black Duck Pirates group, I am afraid that only Doflamingo and Luo are considered normal. When they saw such a big battle, the first reaction was that something was bad. On the other hand, Ye Chen and others all showed excitement. What the hell is this? It turns out that I feel uneasy, but it's actually because of this zero. Ace Daisy said with emotion. If she had known this, she had nothing to worry about. 5 elders, Aunt Charlotte Linlin, and Kaido. Seeing this scene, dying Gecko Moria had a little hope in her heart. He knew that whether it was 5 elders, Aunt Charlotte Linlin or Kaido, the reason why they appeared together in the Devil's Triangle must be Ye Chen. They have a lot of hatred for Ye Chen from time to time. In this situation, only they can save him. Master 5 elders, I'm Gecko Moria of 7 warlords of the sea, save me. Gecko Moria made a weak cry for help. The voice is small, but who is 5 elders, they still hear Gecko Moria's words clearly in their ears. After hearing Gecko Moria's cry for help, their faces instantly sank. Originally, as 7 warlords of the sea, Gecko Moria worked for the world government and was in danger. They did have an obligation to save him. However, Gecko Moria is too weak, and they have long considered expelling him from 7 warlords of the sea. There are many talents in New World, and there are more pirates stronger than Gecko Moria. Even the worst generation of supernovae, several of them are more qualified to serve as 7 warlords of the sea than Gecko Moria. Just when 5 elders was distressed whether to save this useless guy, Ye Chen solved their troubles for them. Still for help, do you think they might save you? Don't be foolish, you are nothing more than a dog to them. Ye Chen said coldly. Ye Chen, what do you want to do? I warn you, it is best not to start as Gecko Moria of 7 warlords of the sea, unless you really want to confront the entire world government. Ye Chen said everything for this purpose, and Big Sword 5 elders couldn't remain silent. Although he doesn't care whether Gecko Moria is alive or dead, he always looks like a costume. Chapter 195. Otherwise, let other 7 warlords of the sea know, who else would be willing to continue to serve as 7 warlords of the sea. Since Doflamingo left 7 warlords of the sea, the current members of 7 warlords of the sea are in short supply. They also want to recruit new members to fill the vacancies. When Gecko Moria heard the words, it was more like grabbing a life-saving straw. Save me, as long as you can save me. I, Gecko Moria, is willing to stay loyal to the world government forever. In order to save his life, Gecko Moria also has no pirate's lower limit. No way, the lower limit is more important or life is more important. Of course it's fate. Are you threatening me? Ye Chen heard the words and said coldly. I hate being threatened the most in my life. With that, Ye Chen lifted his foot and stomped on Gecko Moria's head severely. Bang! In this way, in front of 5 elders, Gecko Moria's head, like a watermelon, was directly trampled by Ye Chen. Poor Gecko Moria, with the last hope, just die like this and can't die anymore. 09 When Gecko Moria died, he worked so hard to collect shadows for more than 10 or 20 years, and all of them were released. Countless shadows floated to various places of the terrifying 3-masted sailing ship and returned to their original masters. Even the shadow of Acedes escaped from Gecko Moria and returned to Acedes. Setsuna, who had returned to the shadows, and Acedes, who had felt a little lost, immediately felt fulfilled. There is no shadow, and maybe there is nothing short of fear of the sun. But, with the shadow, she is complete. Ignoring these, Ye Chen's cold eyes fell on 5 elders. This was the first time he saw 5 elders aloft. These 5 old guys were all extraordinary. Especially their strength. Even with Ye Chen's current strength, I have to say that all of their 5 old guys are not fuel-efficient lamps. It is for sure that they are hidden and not leaking one by one. But even so, Ye Chen looked at them aloft with disdain in his eyes. Even if you are an enemy of the world government, the person I want to kill is still alive. After killing Gecko Moria, Ye Chen provoked 5 elders. In fact, Ye Chen already knew that the world government would never let him go after he rescued Ace and incorporated the Whitebeard pirate group in the top war. The reason why there was no war was just because both sides had scruples. Since the world government has already been completely offended, then doing something extraordinary is nothing. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The blonde five elders, almost never vomited blood by Ye Chen. Since you want to fight against the world government, there is nothing to say. Fire. Killed the Black Crow pirates. With the order of the blonde five elders, suddenly, more than 40 ships fired at the terrorist three-masted sailing ship. The cannonballs filled the sky, like no money, were shot into the air, and then like raindrops, they fell on the terrifying three-masted sailing ship. Such a number of shells is simply outrageous. If this scene is the same as the war on top, it is forwarded to all parts of the world by the projection phone worm, I am afraid that it will not cause panic among people all over the world, and think that a world war has broken out. However, such a big battle is just to deal with a pirate group that has only 6 official members so far. Who dares to believe this? However, if it were the Black Crow pirates, it would be another matter. Humph. In the face of the cannon rain, Acedes just let out a cold snort. Then, she rushed to the sky first. Moko bottom. As Acedes displayed the hidden ability of the Ice Emperor, immediately, the entire area over the terrifying three-masted sailing ship was frozen in time and space. The shells seemed to be frozen, just like that, stagnating in the air. Black Sarrow. Ulquiorra also directly entered a state of returning to the blade, incarnate as a big demon with black wings, floating in the air, a black Sarrow shot, directly smashing all the cannonballs. Rumble. For a while, the sky full of artillery shells exploded in the air like this. Magic Shield. Galio directly displayed the Magic Shield, covering the entire terrifying three-masted sailing ship. The exploded cannonball fell on the Magic Shield, like a clay cow entering the sea, unable to agitate any waves. The cooperation of the three is so tacit. In just an instant, all the artillery shells in the sky were all cleared. There were thousands of artillery shells, but none of them fell directly on the terrifying three-masted sailing ship. In this scene, not only the people of Five Elders, Ant Pirates and Beasts Pirates were dumbfounded. Even Doflamingo, Luo and Perona were dumbfounded. These three people are too strong to join forces. Thousands of shells are just a flash in the pan. Damn it. Unexpectedly, the companions around Ye Chen are so much stronger than the last time they fought on the top. For underestimating the strength of Ulquiorra, Acedes and Galio, Five Elders clearly hated them. Also, after all, when the three of Ulquiorra were summoned by Ye Chen, they were already very powerful and almost invincible in their original world. After coming to Pirate World, under the guidance of Ye Chen, he quickly learned Conqueror's Haki. For the three of them, this is simply icing on the cake. Their strength is naturally rising, it is not too much to say that they are changing with each passing day. Especially that Acedes, doesn't the information say that although she has the ability to freeze time and space, isn't it that she can only use it once a day? According to the situation that she displays it so casually, it is obviously not the case. Of course, the most taboo Five Elders among the three is Acedes. Thinking of fighting at the top, Acedes relied on his own power to defeat Blackbeard and important members of the Blackbeard pirate group and fled, and even chased them all the way. As a result, until now, Blackbeard and his companions have disappeared, and there is no news. Five Elders has become more solemn to Acedes. They feel that after this incident, do they need to reassess the strength of Acedes? Maybe she is stronger than Ulquiorra. What Five Elders doesn't know is that the current Acedes is not the former Acedes, but she shares strength with Ye Chen. The current Acedes is already at the same level as Ye Chen. Chapter 196. For a Black Crow pirate group, one Ye Chen is enough for Five Elders to have a headache. Now, there is another Acedes. Hey, they're 5 old guys, I'm afraid it's not going to cause a headache to explode. Of course, the current Five Elders have not realized that Acedes is at the same level as Ye Chen. They think that Acedes is just outrageous. The shells are useless, then go directly to the island and go to war. Charlotte Linlin and Kaido, order that all members of your pirate group will land on the island together. Whoever makes the first contribution, the head of Ye Chen belongs to whom? Broadsword Five Elders ordered. Five Elders had a good abacus, and let the Ant Pirates and Beasts Pirates be cannon fodder. After they consumed the physical strength of Ye Chen and his group, they sent out the army of the world government to take down Ye Chen. As for the final credit, hey, it's not that they have the final say. Of course, Aunt Charlotte Linlin and Kaido are not stupid. That won't work. Send us pirates to die, but do you world government sit back and enjoy it? Are you really a fool as my aunt? The ant snarled. Yes, either go together or don't go together. The prerequisite for cooperation is trust. But if you trust each other, it's a fart to cooperate. Kaido was even more furious. Who said we won't be on board anymore? You play the vanguard, we will be able to do it afterwards, it's okay. The blonde Five Elders has a temper. Damn, its group of lowly evil pirates dare to be so arrogant in front of our noble Five Elders. After this battle is over and Ye Chen has been successfully won, I will settle accounts with you. Huh, it's almost the same. Poor Ant and Kaido have not realized how stupid it is to seek a tiger's skin. They think that the three parties can work together to get rid of their thorns and thorns. But what they don't know is that they themselves are in the eyes of Five Elders, so it's not their eyes and flesh. In this way, the three parties had their own ghosts, but they still launched an attack on the terrifying bark. After all, Ye Chen is their common enemy. They are here. Perona's voice trembled a little. With such a big battle, to be honest, it was the first time she saw me. 2 emperors on the sea, plus 5 elders in the world government army led by them. Even if it is the top war, it is nothing more than that. Perhaps, this battle is not as sensational as the top war, after all, not many people know it. But in terms of scale, it is definitely better than the top war. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The first to land on the horror bark were members of the Ant Pirates and Beasts Pirates. Of course, not so much as a member, but as the cannon fodder of the 2 big pirates. These cannon fodder are basically members of the Ant Pirate Group and Kaido Pirate Group. As for the official members and main combat power of their pirate group, 5 elders have all sent out real combat power. Naturally, it is impossible for them to be sent to the battlefield so quickly. And these cannon fodder, for Ye Chen, Aceeds, Ulquiorra, and even Galio, are a bunch of stinky fish and shrimps at all, and they don't even have the desire to do something. Doflamingo, Luo, these stinky fish and prawns will be handed over to you. Galio folded his hands across his chest and said. Don't, there are too many of them. Doflamingo and Luo Wenyan were embarrassed, and the former couldn't help but speak. Indeed, the strength of these cannon fodder is not that good, but no matter how many they are. Attacking the terrifying 3-masted sailing ship from all directions, no one can handle it with the 2 of them alone. But there is no way, who let them join the Black Crow pirates later than Galio, the newcomers will always be bullied by the old people. Luo, let's go together, don't let me down. In desperation, Doflamingo can only choose to join forces with Luo. You are, Doflamingo, don't let me down, I will defeat you no matter what, I will avenge Corazon. Obviously, you can hear from Luo's tone that his hatred of Doflamingo will not be resolved so easily. The reason why the 2 can get along peacefully is for Ye Chen's sake. If one day, Ye Chen is gone, the 2 of them, I am afraid that they will fight hard and die until they die. You still have so much nonsense, Luo. Doflamingo is still like that, he can't pull it, and he looks very flat. But he didn't take it too slowly. Birdcage. Doflamingo threw countless nearly transparent threads into the air, and then, like a birdcage, shrouded hundreds of miles in a radius. As long as it is a place shrouded by birdcage, if someone tries to pass through it, it will be cut into countless pieces by the silk thread immediately. However, the area of the terrorist 3-masted sailing ship is too large, and birdcage can only cover the area of a city, which is equivalent to 1/10 of the terrorist 3-masted sailing ship. There are more places that birdcage cannot cover. Luo Wenyan gave a cold snort. Doflamingo has already started, and he no longer talks nonsense, and directly displays the ability of Op Fruit to create an operating field. As long as the pirates break into the special space of the operating field, they will be cut into countless pieces by Luo's gamma knife, and then randomly spliced together. It's really spliced together casually. Therefore, in the operating theater, there are people with all kinds of strange shapes. Those with 3 heads and 6 arms, those with missing arms and legs, 3 mouths, 3 eyes, and 3 Nikos, and so on. This is exactly the Picasso art world. Moreover, the strangest thing is that the person who is cut in the operating field, no matter what the cut is, or even the heart is dug out, will not die. This is the power of Op Fruit. Doflamingo and Luo Lao Haojiao teamed up, barely able to deal with the cannon fodder of the Ant Pirates and Beasts Pirates. However, the world government army that followed, the 2 of them had no time to deal with he. The most important thing is that these troops are regular troops, and unlike the cannon fodder pirates, they are well equipped and extremely capable of combat. Perhaps the individual combat capability is not as good as the vicious pirates who crawled over from the Sea of Blood, but they are better at team combat. Unlike the pirates, their team combat ability is obviously stronger. This is the power of unity and cooperation. It seems, Galio, you can't do anything if you don't. Upon seeing this, Ulquiorra said lightly. What? Galio is older than him. Sorry, in the Black Crow Pirates group, strength is the respect and strength is supreme. Well, Dover and Roe did their best. Galio, it's your turn. Aceeds also nodded and said. Chapter 197. Quote. Han Galio protested this, you 2 deceived too much. However, Aceeds is right. Both Doflamingo and Luo have tried their best. Now, one person is really needed to stop the army of the world government. Ulquiorra and Aceeds have stated that they will not take action. Could it be that Ye Chen can't make a shot? This is absolutely impossible. Just when Galio was very helpless, ready to put down his identity and get up to deal with the world government's army, a loud shout suddenly sounded in the distance. Come on, drive these troops out of the terrifying bark. After the noisy sound, the crowd who rushed over turned out to be a crowded crowd, at least thousands of them. All of them were pale, and some people's bodies had even begun to rot. They turned out to be the surviving zombies on the terrifying bark. Of course, now they are no longer zombies, because the shadows have returned to them. Perhaps they should be considered somewhere between the living and the dead, half of the dead. Many of them were harvested by Gecko Moria more than 10 or 20 years ago, and turned into zombies that can only appear at night and can't see the sun at all. It can be said that they can't survive and die. They even hope that someone can kill them so that they can get rid of this world of purgatory as soon as possible. This shows how desperate they live. But now, Ye Chen killed Gecko Moria, not only saved them, but also gave them freedom and gave them new hope. Many of them may be pirates, but they are not yet ungrateful. Seeing their savior, they were attacked by the pirates and the army. They naturally came together and organized spontaneously to fight against the army. This is the only thing they can do for their savior. As for the army of the world government, they are indeed well equipped and have extremely strong group combat capabilities, but even they have never seen such things that are neither human nor ghost. For a time, many people were shocked. What the hell is this? You are right, I don't think they look like people, they are more like ghosts. Is this a zombie? It's terrible. Want to escape? What are you afraid of? Aren't they just some half-human, half-ghost rotten guys? What? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No, they are so powerful. The soldiers who weren't frightened, after fighting against these guys who were not human and ghost, were also shocked by the opponent's powerful strength. These people who are neither ghosts nor ghosts are far more powerful than they thought. That is, they are all the masters of the shadow that Gecko Moria has worked so hard to harvest over more than 10 or 20 years. If the owners of these shadows are not strong enough, just like those cannon fodder pirates, but stinky fish and shrimps, Gecko Moria must spend so much energy to collect their shadows. In other words, these people who have been harvested by Gecko Moria and turned into zombies have very good strengths during their lifetime. At least, it is far from comparable to those soldiers who can only rely on group combat to gain an advantage. Damn it, calm me down. Isn't it just a group of zombies that scared you? What about your usual training and your team combat ability? Show your dignity as a soldier. Upon seeing this, an officer couldn't help but roar. Hearing that, those soldiers who were frightened had just calmed down. The army of the world government is still well trained. After calming down, its combat power instantly increased by several levels. But even so, it is not easy to win these zombies at a time. The officer was very troubled by this. Stop. Who are you? We are the army of the world government. Are you fighting against the world government? In desperation, the officers could only take out the world government to suppress them. Sure enough, the zombies didn't dare to mess around after hearing this. Even if they have been zombies for more than 10 or 20 years, they were also human before. Who doesn't know what will happen if you go against the world government? Seeing the effect of these words, the officer was overjoyed and continued. We are the army of the world government, the righteous side. They are the pirates, the evil side. Which side are you on, justice or evil? Having said this, the officers did not forget to throw olive branches like these people as always. As long as you are willing to join our righteous side, I promise that after this battle, we will help you. Help restore human identity and human life. However, if the officers are allowed to bully and lure, there are still sane people in the crowd. Fart, don't listen to him. As 7 warlords of the sea, Gecko Moria also belongs to the world government. Look at him, what did we become? The most unbelievable thing in this world is the nonsense of the world government. Yes, Gecko Moria, as 7 warlords of the sea, I don't believe that world government knew what he did. They knew it, but they never sent anyone to rescue us from the sea of suffering. This is the world government. Look at what Gecko Moria has turned us into. All of this is the fault of the world government. Don't listen to the nonsense of the military officers. We only need to know one thing. It is not the world government that saves us, but our great lifesaver. Our savior, although we don't know your name, we won't let the army move you a hair. Savior, you saved our soul. No, it's a shadow. Please let us follow you, and we will always be loyal to you. Yes, we will always be loyal to you. Go, drive the army out of the terrifying bark. I don't know who it is, and he called out first. Suddenly, unity was formed. The zombies, who had already stopped, once again launched an offensive against the army. Is it unintentional to insert the willow into the willow? Ye Chen muttered to himself. He killed Gecko Moria not at all to save the people whose shadow was taken away by Gecko Moria, it was purely because Gecko Moria offended him. However, after killing Gecko Moria, these people who lived again are very grateful to Ye Chen, a lifesaver. They even expressed their willingness to follow Ye Chen. Perona saw this scene, her eyes were a little moist. She followed Gecko Moria to do evil for so many years, and her mind became dark and weird. This was the first time she felt the light of righteousness. Chapter 198. It is said that the protagonist has its own aura that can attract people's attention and make people want to follow him involuntarily. Are you the protagonist in the comic? Perona suddenly spoke softly to Ye Chen. She is moved now. Ye Chen didn't know what to say after hearing this. Could it be that he should say to Perona, wake up, the protagonist of this anime is actually the Straw Hat Boy Lu Fei. That's not too ridiculous. However, Ye Chen's reaction fell in Perona's eyes, but it was another expression of modesty. It is indeed Ye Chen, so humble. Perona knows what to do. With that said, Perona actually floated into the air holding her little pink parasol. Negative ghost. Mini ghost bomb. Extraordinary ghost kamikaze bomb. Hyaki Yexing. In order to show allegiance, Perona spared no effort to launch an attack on the army. Boom. Bang. The explosion sounded one after another. What? Help. What is this? It's a real ghost this time. It's scary. Run. Woo, it's so uncomfortable. As a soldier, I killed so many innocent people. I deserve to die. Born to be human, I'm sorry. I'm just a trash. Even a pirate can't be a trash. You shouldn't live in this world. The scene suddenly fell into chaos. Many soldiers have been blown up by ghost bombs, and some have become very negative under the influence of negative ghosts, and have completely lost their combat capabilities. Countless evil spirits emerged from the ground, threatening and chasing the soldiers. It seems that I don't need to act. In response, Galio couldn't help but speak. With Perona and thousands of zombies, it is more than enough to deal with the vanguard army of the world government. Cut. Seeing the first wave of cannon fodder. The attack of the vanguard, let alone forcing Ye Chen to do it, even his three important companions, Ulquiorra, Acids and Galio, could not force them to do it. 5 elders is very dissatisfied. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Isn't that Perona, one of Gecko Moria's 3 weirdos? Unexpectedly, she betrayed Gecko Moria and joined the Black Crow Pirates. The 5 elders, with white beard and hair, spoke first. Perona, the ghost fruit capable person. As everyone knows, the ghost fruit is a troublesome fruit. It seems that Ye Chen's eyes are also quite unique. He is collecting some rare fruit capable persons. Curly hair 5 elders said lightly. Sure enough, Ye Chen has already started his ambition plan. We made the right decision to deal with Ye Chen. The blonde 5 elders dissatisfied. Stop talking nonsense. Let Charlotte Linlin and Kaido send their elites. Let's send the elites too. Bald 5 elders said grumpily. In the next second, the Ant and Kaido, who were on their respective main ships, naturally received an order from 5 elders. Seeing that 5 elders first sent hundreds of pacifists, the Ant and Kaido had nothing to say, and directly led all the elite members under them attack. Around them, only the most important members were left. For example, beside the Ant, there are 3 dessert stars, Charlotte Kata Curry, Charlotte Cracker and Charlotte Smoky. By the side of Kaido, only the 2 survivors of the 3 plagues were left, the Flame Jin and the Plague Quinn. My good boy Smoky, don't be so anxious, it's not your turn to play now. The Ant stopped the Cookie Minister who was going to play, Charlotte Cracker. Okay. Although Charlotte Cracker has long been dissatisfied with Ye Chen and his group, he wants to take this opportunity to make a contribution and cannot win Ye Chen. At least he must win Ulquiorra, an important member of the Black Duck Pirates. But he still didn't dare not listen to his mother's words. Ha ha ha, is it finally our turn to play? Whether it is the Ant Pirates or the elite members of Beast's Pirates, they are very arrogant when they are sent to the field. They do have arrogant qualifications. After all, with their strength, where they are placed, it is not the existence of the famous party. Only under the dazzling light of Anti and Kaido, as well as the dazzling light of the Desert 3 Generals and the 3 Plagues, they will be silent. I tell you, Ye Chen's head is mine, don't grab anyone from me. 0 Find flowers 0. Fart, his head belongs to our Beast's Pirates. What, do you look down on our Ant Pirate group? It's useless to say more, use strength to prove everything. Kill, if anyone can take the head of Ye Chen, whoever can become famous in one fell swoop. I really don't have the guts to deal with Ye Chen alone, but how many of us do we have? 1,000, 2,000, no, 3,000 people. 3,000 elites, won't it be easy to win Ye Chen? No matter how strong Ye Chen is, he can't beat 3,000 of us alone. Yes, kill. The elite members of the 2 large pirate groups, mixed with hundreds of pacifists, just killed them aggressively. Just looking at the momentum is enough to scare the so-called big pirates in New World. 0. Also, the elites under the command of the 2 Sea Emperors, hundreds of pacifists on board, except for the lack of admiral-level presence. This lineup is already larger than the scale of the previous war, okay. Here is the horror bark. Coming again. Even if Tianyacha Doflamingo, who is usually arrogant, took a sigh of relief when he saw this posture. His birdcage can block the first wave of stinky fish and shrimp attacks, but he is not guaranteed to be able to withstand the attacks of elite members and pacifists of the 2 large pirate regiments. And Luo also had a tingling scalp. Is this the daily life of the Black Crow Pirates? No wonder, they are as powerful as monsters one by one. If it weren't for such a strong strength, I'm afraid it would have been wiped out long ago. As for our Princess Mononoke, Perona, this little loli has already started crying again. No. Isn't it? It's not over yet. She is tired, even if she can control the ghost army and interfere with them, the attacks of the ghosts are more effects than damage. Besides, facing enemies that are too much stronger than oneself, the various effects of ghosts must be greatly reduced. For example, negative ghosts can make stinky fish rotten, shrimp pirates, and negative for a long time. But for a strong pirate, at most 10 minutes. As for dealing with pacifists who have no emotion at all, and only obey the orders of their superiors, it is even more ineffective at all. Force. Chapter 199. Unlike the 3 of them, Ulquiorra, Acids, and Galio looked at all this in disdain. As for Ye Chen, I didn't even look at it. Elite. Please, it's not the elite of the elite, he doesn't bother to take a look. These trash fish are enough to give them to Ulquiorra. Seeing that the first wave of offense is not over yet, and the second wave of offense has come, Galio couldn't help being the first one to speak. There are really many trash fish. The first wave of trash fish hasn't been cleared yet, has the second wave of trash fish hit? As soon as these words came out, Doflamingo, Luo and Perona, who were still fighting hard, expressed shame. If the ant pirates, the elites of the beasts pirates, and the world government's latest secret weapon, the pacifists, are miscellaneous fish, then there are so many pretentious pirates in this world, aren't they even worse than miscellaneous fish? However, these words came out of Han Galio, and the three of them simply couldn't refute it. After all, although they are a little bit naive, their strength lies there. It looks like it's time for us to do it. When Acides heard the words, he didn't confuse Galio, but said indifferently. Let's go together. Ulquiorra was still as silent as ever. Okay. Acides and Galio nodded in agreement. The first wave of miscellaneous fish was justified by their disdain, but for the second wave of elites, they could only do it. Otherwise, who else can I send to do it? After all, the Black Crow pirates are only a few of them. Except for them, there is no one else. However, just when the three of them were about to work together, Acides was stopped by Ye Chen. Acides, you stay. It is enough for these miscellaneous soldiers to hand over to Ulquiorra and Galio. Hearing this, Galio became dissatisfied. The captain is too partial, leaving only Sister Acides, but let us deal with the miscellaneous soldiers. Anyway, I joined the Black Crow Pirates group earlier, if I want to stay and leave me. Quote. Facing Galio's dissatisfaction, Ye Chen naturally turned a deaf ear. Anyway, this guy is such a virtue. Don't complain, keep up. In response, Ulquiorra just responded lightly. Ulquiorra, why are you doing this? Don't you think the captain is partial? Galio was dissatisfied, but he was still very honest, and while grumbling, he followed Ulquiorra closely. Eccentric. Oh, I don't think so. Think about it, the captain thinks that the two of us are enough to deal with these elites. What does this mean? This shows the captain's recognition of our strength. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Even for Ulquiorra, there was nothing Galio could do, and he directly spoke out the thoughts in his heart in one breath. Yes. Hearing the words, Galio slapped his head, and suddenly felt that he was empowered, and he stopped complaining. He rushed forward and hit the second wave of elite troops with a slam. Justice comes. Galio descended from the sky like a god and demon, and just sat down. Bang! The earth was directly shattered. The magma gushes out. Galio's size, at some point, had become as huge as a hill. Sitting on this butt, many elite members and pacifists were directly killed. You know, many of the elite members of Beast's pirates are famous big pirates. Just like this, he fell under Galio's ass. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'm afraid that few people would believe it. But this is the fact. However, this is only the beginning. Demon had arrived. Black Sero, Ulquiorra, who has been transformed into a great devil, with a light wave of the demon wings on his body, he turned into a dark figure, shuttled between the elite members and the pacifists. It's just that where his figure appears, it must be accompanied by death. What? Screaming accompanied by black light, one after another. Never stop. He is surrounded. Come on. He can't escape. However, the elite members of the two great pirates and the pacifists were not vegetarian, and soon they surrounded Ulquiorra. Of course, this is just their wishful thinking. They thought they surrounded Ulquiorra, but in Ulquiorra's eyes, he surrounded them all alone. After that, a pitch-black energy ball smashed into the crowd zero. In an instant, Reiatsu surging, flooded the world. What is this? What? Run. People finally realized that something was wrong, they wanted to run, but it was too late. Boom. With a loud noise, the black Sero exploded in the crowd, and a black mushroom cloud rose to the sky. Hundreds of elite pirates and pacifists were destroyed like this. Ye Chen watched all this coldly. He was very satisfied with Ulquiorra's performance, he just yelled, "The Demon Lord is coming," before entering the field, although it means that it echoes Galio's, "Justice coming." But how does Ye Chen feel that Ulquiorra has become so second? Could it be that he was influenced by Galio? It seems that in the future, Ulquiorra and Galio will fight side by side. Otherwise, take a good look at the seedlings and see what they become. Junior 2. No one knows Ye Chen. At this time, he is thinking about these insignificant things. At the beginning, the vicious pirates who were still clamoring and wanted to take Ye Chen's head, at this moment, were scared to pee by Ulquiorra's performance. There was a deep fear in their hearts. The important members of Ye Chen's staff are so powerful that they still want to take Ye Chen's head. Thinking about it now, they feel that they are too stupid and naive. They think that if there are too many people, they can win Ye Chen. Don't you know, in the eyes of others, they are no different from the ants crawling on the ground. After being hit, many pirates lost their confidence for a while. Relying on them, I'm afraid that even Ulquiorra and Galio can't be beaten. Of course, some people think otherwise. See, Owen, Opal, they are the most important members of the Black Crow Pirates, Ulquiorra and Galio. The eldest son of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Perot Sparrow spoke up. As long as the two of you cooperate with me to win one of them, maybe my mother is happy for a while and will seal the three of us as the new dessert 3 stars. It's not necessarily. Chapter 200. Really, brother. Charlotte Owen and Charlotte Opal were very excited when they heard this. Of course, when did I deceive you, your elder brother? Charlotte Perisparrow promised to pat her chest. Really, I don't think so. The third son of the Charlotte family, Charlotte Dafu retorted. Dafu, what do you mean? Charlotte Perisparrow was very dissatisfied with this. To become the new 3-star dessert star, it must be my big blessing. Then just wait and see. Yes, just wait and see. ... This is a conversation between the aunt's sons. The brothers usually seem to get along well, but in fact, no one is convinced. When the aunt is away, quarrels are inevitable. On the other side, on the Beast's pirates' side, the same thing is happening. Look, that is Ulquiorra, the famous, great demon king. When we take him down, our barbarian overlord position in Beast's pirates will definitely be able to surpass the flying 6 powers, and we will step on the real fight and givers. Even, we can also become a big billboard. That's right, Shichigg. 4 ghosts, 5 ghosts, and 10 ghosts, you will say a word. They are huge, one by one looks like a monster. However, just when they were yelling and excited, Galio's voice suddenly sounded behind them. What, you just want to trouble Ulquiorra? Look at me, justice punches. As Galio said, a righteous punch suddenly blasted out. Bang! The 4 ghosts, 5 ghosts, and 10 ghosts were suddenly crushed into meatloaf, and it was too late to make a scream. The barbarian is big, like a monster. Haha, they are still younger brothers in front of Galio, who has expanded 100 times in size. 4 ghosts, 5 ghosts, 10 ghosts, the remaining tyrants yelled. Kill him, take revenge for the 4 ghosts. Baka yelled. Yes, take revenge for our brother. 7 ghosts also yelled. However, they just yelled, and another icy voice suddenly sounded above their heads. I heard that you want to trouble me. Ulquiorra waved a pair of huge demon wings and looked down at the bully with a gloomy face. His look of dignity, arrogance, and disdain seemed to be a great demon king. Black Saro. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Immediately afterwards, Ulquiorra stretched out a finger to condense a pitch-black energy ball, and then threw it towards the crowd of tyrants. Boom! Another dark mushroom cloud rose into the sky. The savage tyrant who was as big as a monster disappeared into the world since then. Hi! Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help taking a breath. The monster-like savage tyrant is destroyed like this. This is too powerful, but at this point, they can't help it. It will only be worse when the deserter ends up. No way, they can only bite the bullet and continue on. Go. Kill them both. What? Next, there was a fierce chaos. The sound of fighting, the clash of swords, the screams, and the explosions, one after another, never stopped. That's it. The cream minister of the ant pirates has just this strength. The rise of Galio's fight. After saying this, he squeezed his big hand and directly squeezed Charlotte Opella, who looked like a puddle of cream. Flop. Charlotte Opevan exploded, spraying white cream all over the place. Galio's grip was not a simple grip, but Conqueror's Haki was used. With the blessing of Conqueror's Haki, even if Charlotte Opal's body is a pool of cream, it can't be dead anymore. No, Opella, Charlotte Owen, who has a very good relationship with Charlotte Opal, couldn't help but yell when he saw it. The situation is not good, run. As for Charlotte Perisparrow, who had won both Owen and Opal at the beginning, seeing this, he didn't care so much for the despicable, and ran away by himself without Charlotte Owen. Gario, take my life. Charlotte Owen roared, his whole body was red and hot, and the ability to heat the fruit exploded, and even the ground on which he was standing was melted. Oh, however, Galio was very disdainful of this. The hot fruit of the super energy system. Is it comparable to Akainu's lava fruit? Of course not. In the face of Akainu, Galio didn't mean anything. As for this Owen. Galio said nothing but a righteous punch against Owen. Snapped. Owen, who has the ability to heat fruits, was directly crushed into meatloaf. Huh, luckily Lousy runs fast. Charlotte Perisparrow couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. However, run, can you run away? Ulquiorra's cold voice sounded behind Charlotte Perisparrow. You, when did you come here? Charlotte Perisparrow pretended to be shocked, while controlling the melting candy, attacked Ulquiorra from behind. It really is a despicable guy. Go to hell, candy virgin decoration. Charlotte Perisparrow shouted. The liquid syrup turned into a big mouth full of teeth, and it swallowed violently towards Ulquiorra. The situation is very dangerous. Charlotte Perisparrow also succeeded in his conspiracy, with a triumphant expression on his face. However, in the next second, the smug expression on his face freezes. Moonlight sword. Ulquiorra stretched out his hand and grabbed it, and a moonlight sword condensed from spirits appeared in his hand. He just waved his sword, and Charlotte Perisparrow was cut in half by him. Until the upper body fell to the ground and the consciousness began to blur, Charlotte Perisparrow didn't want to believe that the eldest son of his dignified Charlotte family would die so casually. Yes, everything seems so casual. The eldest son of the Charlotte family, just casually died under Ulquiorra's moonlight sword. This scene, even if you see it with your own eyes, is unbelievable for a while, right? However, this is the fact. Of course, this just seems random. In fact, This sword not only contains powerful psionic energy, but also uses the blessing of Haki. Ulquiorra was really moved, but his expression on his face was cold, making everything seem casual. I have to say that the children of the ant, even if it is not a dessert 3-star, but they still have the strength.